êkiskwayihtamowin. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the second annual Indigenous Youth Rising Conference. We are going to start today's event in a good way by hearing from Elder Dr. Francis Wiskizak, who will provide us with this morning's prayer.
Hey, tawao mina nista. Kawituko kisi kwa unitsika son. Nehio ni anitskwapo nehuche. Ewa nanaskobon aunutskisaka mekoya. So welcome all my relations and thank you MC for your introduction. It's I'm very honored to be here today speaking to you from Kihêw Waciston Center, Indigenous Center at Grand MacEwan located in Edmonton. So this morning, if you bear with me, I ask everyone listening to join me with your spirit, to join me with your physical, to join me with your mentality and your emotion. Today is a very special day where we speak to one another from different places. And so we all have this lodge, Nagutawan, and I invite you to join me with simple prayer and also with a song this morning. I'm going to do this virtual blessing with this medicine that I'm burning. And so we acknowledge with your own selves this prayer. Mamotawi mau soim kahkio gantu tahanut sumuta sagaste peitzegane. Nanaskumananit ma awihia mat suntap muta tamahutas ki. Minumuta iswapat tamahuaseaun de pemiugisaga. Au nanaskuman mamotawi mau kahkio skaya go uksnamaksak. Minumuta kahkio nuago magananak kagit nagataskechik. So I'm kahkio uta ahta kwak kapewutam goyak mianopte case. So Creator, as always, I ask your blessing today in blessing us all and in the gifts that you have given us as human beings. We ask your blessings to bless each one of us as we sit in our lodges and today to share that knowledge as caregivers and what we give to one another in this conference. I ask that those spirit guides, êkiskwayihtamowin, that we know as the grandfathers and grandmothers, can carry us and bring this prayer to the spirit world on our behalf. And we ask special blessings for those that are suffering in Ukraine and also for the ones that have been affected by COVID, Delta variant. And so those lives that are taken and those that go to the spirit world will also join us here today as our spirituality entitles us. Hi, hi, Nanaskuma. So with this song says that the Creator had given us this life. It is short, but in this life, as human beings, we should always be good and kind and love one another. Hey, hey. Asman ay kihêw gawin niyo êkiskwayihtamowin.
Hi, and thank you, Elder Whiskey Jack, for that beautiful opening prayer. I would like to begin by acknowledging that MacEwan University is situated on Treaty 6 territory, the traditional gathering place for many Indigenous people. We honor and respect the history, languages, and ceremonies and culture of the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people who call this territory home. The First People's connection to the land teaches us about our inherent responsibility to protect and respect our Mother Earth. With this acknowledgement, we honor the ancestors and the children who have been buried here, the missing and murdered Indigenous men and women and Two-Spirit peoples, and the process of ongoing collective healing for all human beings. We are reminded that we are all treaty people and of the responsibility we have to one another. Many of us are joining from Treaty 6, but some of us are joining from other treaty lands and or unceded territories from across Turtle Island. We encourage you to take this time to reflect on the traditional territory you are on and your own personal relationship to the land. Welcome again, and thank you for everyone for joining us on the second annual Indigenous Youth Rising Conference hosted by kihêw Waciston Indigenous Center at MacEwan University in Edmonton, Alberta. A big thank you goes to MacEwan's event services team for their support in making today happen, and thank you to the City of Edmonton for sponsoring this evening's virtual round dance. I'd like to introduce myself, Curtis Pilon-Vinish Nsigasu Nasaskatumanako Chinia. My name is Curtis Pilon-Vinish, and I am a Métis Filipino that was born and raised in Saskatoon. I'm currently a grad student in the Indigenous Land-Based Master's Program at the University of Saskatchewan and a proud SUNTEP graduate. I'm also an actor and do work within educational consulting, and also a big shout out to my classroom who's watching right now, Oskaya High School in Saskatoon. But enough about me. I'd like to kind of talk about our day. We have a jam-packed schedule for the day, and we can't wait to hear from all of you and all of our fantastic speakers. Just a few housekeeping items just to let you know about. We will have a few breaks during today's program, a short break later this morning, 30 minutes for lunch, and a short break this afternoon to give everyone the opportunity to stretch, use the bathroom, grab snacks, of course, and then etc. But of course, you're welcome to take breaks whenever you need to. We also want to let you know that today's conference will be recorded, and the recording will be made available for anyone who isn't able to be here with us today. Once the recording link is ready, it will be sent out to everyone who registered for the conference. If you have any questions or for our speakers or for myself or for anyone else, make sure you type them in the chat. At this time, I would like to welcome our first speaker to provide a welcome on behalf of MacEwan University, the President and Vice Chancellor of MacEwan University, Dr. Annette Trimby.
Thank you, Curtis, and good morning, everybody. My name's Annette. I'm here at MacEwan University in Edmonton. I'm so pleased to welcome you to this year's Youth Rising Indigenous Conference. It's wonderful to see so many of you take advantage of this opportunity. I know that probably many of you get asked often, what do you want to be when you grow up? And the truth is, you are already many things, and chances are you will have a career that gets you doing many things over the course of your life, but a career is just a part of who you are. I think it's really important that you think about what you like to do, whether you like to make things, whether you like to create, whether you like to perform, whether you like to lead, do you like math, do you like science? And I think it's really important that you have these conversations, and it's so great that you're here with us today at this conference. And that's one of the things about post-secondary is you get to explore these things. So today is about you. I know that for many of you, this might be the first time you get to hear from a knowledge keeper, that you get exposed to your culture. And I think this is really, really important. It's part of who you are. You have the opportunity today to hear from some amazing speakers, from elders, from entrepreneurs, from performers, and really today is all about you. Ask questions, make friendships, engage, enjoy the day. I really hope to see you at MacEwan University. Actually, I hope to see you at any post-secondary institution, because let me tell you, it can be a lot of fun and it's a really wonderful time of your life. So thanks very much, Curtis. I'm going to hand it back to you, and everybody, I'm so grateful you're here. You belong in post-secondary. Do not let anybody shut any doors on you. The world needs more of you, and welcome. Best of luck. Have a great day. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you very much, President Trimby. Now we will be hearing from Grand Chief George Arkan Jr. on behalf of the Confederacy of Treaty 6 First Nations.
Tanse, to all the attendees of the second annual Indigenous Youth Rising Conference. I am Grand Chief George Arkan Jr. I am Chief of the Alexander First Nation and also the Grand Chief of the Confederacy of Treaty 6. On behalf of the Confederacy of Treaty 6, I would like to welcome you virtually to the Treaty 6 territory. I want to start by recognizing the organizers of this event. Thank you for the time and commitment to ensuring opportunities for youth rising. During the conference, participants will have the opportunity to explore educational and career opportunities and hear from a number of influential and incredible Indigenous role models. I hope you use this time to listen and learn, and during the various workshops, take advantage of the opportunities to ask questions and embrace the opportunities in front of you. I want to encourage you to use this conference to celebrate your success, make good connections, and continue to work hard towards your goals. Our youth are our future, and I wish nothing but the best for all of you. Enjoy the day. Hi, hi.
Thank you, Grand Chief George Arkan Jr. for those words of welcome. And then now to something that's a little bit more difficult and something that a lot of people were affected by this year. Those who attended last year's conference may remember hearing beautiful teachings and songs from our late knowledge keeper, Roxanne Tutusis, who sadly passed away this summer. Roxanne was a Plains Cree from Powmaker Cree Nation, grounded in Cree language, culture, and traditions. Roxanne was MacEwan's first full-time Indigenous knowledge keeper, facilitator, and spent 4 years as a part of kihêw waciston team. A beloved mom, cookum, and a friend to many, Roxanne was and continues to be a bright light and an inspiration to all those lives she touched. Terry Cardinal, Director of Indigenous Initiatives at MacEwan University, will be sharing a few words in her memory.
Welcome all of you to the Indigenous Youth Conference. I am Terry Cardinal and I'm from Salt Lake Cree Nation and Treaty 6 Territory. I'm also the Director of Indigenous Initiatives at MacEwan University. Today I wanted to take the time to honor somebody very special to many of us. Late Roxanne Tutusis was very much a part of the planning of this first annual conference last year. She opened the conference with a welcome and a prayer and guided us in the process of the work that we were doing. And unfortunately, we lost Roxanne in August of 2021. And so in respecting cultural protocols, we won't be sharing her picture for that first year. But today we just wanted to remember her in a very special way and the special person that she was. And so we dedicate today to Roxanne.
So I'm excited to introduce our next speaker, who is going to guide us in yoga and a meditation session. Shyla Gable is from Sioux Valley, Dakota Nation in Manitoba, but grew up in Regina, Saskatchewan. She recently received a 300-hour trauma-informed teaching training certificate and has made it her mission to teach the healing practice of yoga to residential school survivors and the First Nations community. She has taught yoga at the First Nations University, Sask Polytech, Sask Urban Native Teacher Education Program, Indigenous Service Canada, White Raven Healing Center, and more. So without further ado, welcome, Shyla.
I'm here. Thank you so much. Okay. So, is everybody ready to move their body this afternoon? I bet. Okay. So, if you're sitting at your desk, I want you to come to a standing position and just find an area that you have some ample movement, ample space. So if you bring your arms wide, just make sure that we're not touching anybody and that we have a nice area around us, and we don't want to hit our partners or people around us, okay? So what I want you to do is I want you to bring your arms wide, and then I just want you to start circling your arms, going as slow and as fast as you want. And then we'll just go the other way. All right, and then we'll bring our arms wide. And then just start swinging your arms from side to side. Just enjoying some of this movement. I know we've probably been sitting for a while, so just get that energy moving. All right, awesome. Maybe you want to start to shake out your legs and your arms. Maybe you want to shake out your head. Just move your butt, move the body, move that energy. All right, and then from here, I want you to bring your feet about hips within distance, okay? And so yoga is all about moving energy. So we're moving all of that stuck energy that we don't need anymore, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically, when we're talking about the medicine wheel, okay? So I want you to inhale your arms up high to the sky. And then exhale, I want you to drop your arms down. Okay, we're gonna do that 2 more times. Inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, sigh it out. So maybe you want to let it out the mouth. Maybe you just want to take a big exhale 1 more time. Inhale, exhale. Awesome. Okay, from here, what I want you to do is keep your feet right where they are. Inhale, the arms up. And on the exhale, I want you to slightly bend your knees and then fold. Okay, so bend your knees as much as you need. Maybe you want to grip onto either elbows and just sway your body from side to side. Bend your knees here as much as you need. Keep breathing. Inhale, slowly come all the way up. Bring the arms overhead. And exhale, release the arms. Okay, we're going to do this a couple more times, 2 more times. Inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, bend the knees and fold. Inhale, come all the way back up, reach the arms high to Father Sky. And exhale, let the arms down. Okay, 1 more time. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, bend the knees and fold. Inhale, come all the way up, bring the arms high to Father Sky. And exhale, let them go. All right, good job. Okay, so from here, I want you to bring your feet together wherever you are. Okay, and then I want you to step your right foot back on an angle and give the front knee a little bit of a bend. Okay, left arm forward, right arm back. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Step the right foot forward. Okay, and we're going to do the other side. So let's step the left foot back on an angle, bend the knee a little bit, right arm forward, left arm back. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Step the left foot forward. And then maybe you want to shake out your body, shake your limbs. Okay? All right. Now we're going to bring our feet together wherever you are. From here, I want you to step your right foot back, but this time I want you to step your right foot back on your toes, okay? So the back of the heel is lifted. Inhale, arms up, and exhale. Step the right foot forward, and then we're going to do the other side. So step the left foot back on your toes, back of the heel is lifted. Inhale, arms up, and exhale. Step the left foot forward. Maybe you want to shake it out here, okay? Then from here, we're going to step our right foot back on an angle, just like we did before. We're going to bend the front knee, left arm forward, right arm back. And this time, on the inhale, I want you to flip your palms towards Father Sky, straighten the front leg, bring your arms up, and exhale, bring them back down, bend the front knee. Okay, inhale, take in as much air as you can here. And exhale, push that energy down to Mother Earth. 2 more. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, come back down. 1 more. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, come back down. Awesome. Let's step that right foot forward. And we're gonna do the other side. So step the left foot back on an angle, bend the front knee, right arm forward, left arm back. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Inhale, flip the palms towards Father Sky. Reach the arms up, straighten the front leg, and exhale, push that energy down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, down. One more, inhale, arms up. Exhale, come back down. Step that left foot forward. Maybe you want to shake out your legs. All right. From here, what we're going to do is I want you to step your feet wide. Okay, just as wide as feels comfortable for you here. Okay, inhale, bring the arms up high to the sky. And exhale, we're going to fold. So we're going to fold all the way down. And I just want you to let your head dangle. Maybe shake your head no, maybe shake your head yes. So just let your neck hang heavy here. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Inhale, come all the way back up. Jump your feet together. Now we're going to do some balancing. Okay, so has anybody ever heard of tree pose before? Maybe some of you. I kind of think so. I think there's a few of you out there. Okay, so I want you to pick a foot that I want you to begin your balancing on. It doesn't matter which one, okay? But before we start our balancing, I want you to close your eyes, open your palms towards the front of the room, and just connect to your breath here, imagining that your feet are rooting down into Mother Earth and that your legs are the trunk of the tree, nice and stable. Okay, let's take a deep breath in together and a deep breath out. When you're ready, slowly open your eyes. And then from here, I want you to find a spot in the room that you can look at that will help you keep your balance. So maybe it's something on the floor, a tile, maybe it's something that's not moving, that's in front of you, okay? Pick a leg you want to balance on, okay? And from here, so I'm going to start on my right leg. So on the inhale, I want you to bring your arms up high to the sky. And then from here, I want you to take whichever foot you decided to balance on and lift the heel just to see where your balance is. And when you're ready, we're going to bring that knee into our chest. We're going to hold here for 3, 2, and 1. Slowly lower. Okay, so we're just testing on our balance here. And we're going to do the same on the other side, okay? So opposite foot this time. Inhale, arms up. Lift the heel off the floor so that your toes are just hanging there. And then when you're ready, bring your knee into your chest. 3, 2, 1, slowly lower. Okay, let's come into our tree pose now. So we're going to start on the opposite side. Inhale, arms up. When you're ready, so see if you can bring that knee, lift that knee in towards your chest. Then I want you to take the hand that's on the same side of the leg that you're balancing. I want you to see if you could open that hip just a little bit, and then we're going to lower that leg to the inside of the opposite leg, okay? Opening it up for our tree pose. Now, we automatically want to go to the knee, but I want you to avoid the knee because we can really do some damage to our knee, okay? So maybe you want to bring your arms wide for balance, maybe parallel. Maybe you want to keep them at your chest. So we're going to hold here, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly release your legs, shake out your arms, your legs. Okay, let's do the other side. So when you're ready, inhale, arms up. When you feel comfortable, bringing that knee in towards your chest, bringing that arm down, externally rotating that hip and slowly lowering it to the inside of the opposite leg, making sure we're avoiding our knee. Holding here, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring your legs down, shake it off. All right. Now, from here, what we're going to do is I want you to bring your feet together, and I want you to step your right foot back on your toes, okay? From here, I want you to lean forward, and I like to bring my arms wide, but I can't because there's a wall here. I can bring one arm wide. We're going to lean forward, and I want you to see if you can kick that back foot and just hover it off the floor. Maybe it's just a little bit. Maybe you can bring it parallel to the floor. Hold here. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly come all the way back up. All right, and we're going to do the other side. Okay, so step the left foot back on your toes. Okay, and you can go into it whenever you're ready. Maybe you lean forward with your arms wide, or keep your hands at prayer. Maybe even reach your hands forward, but when you're ready, lift off that back foot, even if it's just a little bit. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come all the way back up. Shake out your arms, shake out your legs, shake out your head. All right, so wherever you are, come to a seat. Maybe it's just sitting at your desk today. Maybe it's sitting down in a gym, or wherever you are. Okay, just find a comfortable seat. Okay, and right where you are, take a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Let's do one more. Inhale through the nose, out through the mouth. All right. Now from here, I'm going to teach you guys a little breathing technique that I do quite often. So I don't know about you, but I suffer from anxiety sometimes, and my mind gets really noisy and really racy. My heart speeds up really fast. So when this happens, what I like to do is I like to do a breathing technique. It's called Nadi Shodhana. So it's called alternate nostril breathing. So we'll just do a little bit of it, and I want you to see how you feel after, okay? So I want you to take the peace fingers of your right hand, okay? And I want you to place them in between your eyebrows, okay? We're gonna extend our thumb and our pinky finger. I want you to plug your right nostril with your thumb, okay? We're gonna inhale through the left nostril. Plug the left nostril with your pinky finger, release the thumb, and exhale out the right nostril. Inhale through the right, plug, exhale out the left. Inhale left, exhale right. Couple more. Inhale right, exhale left. Inhale left, exhale right. Last one. Inhale right, exhale left. All right, remove your hand from your face. And if it feels comfortable for you, maybe you just close the eyes just to notice and sense how you feel in this moment. If you have your eyes closed, maybe we slowly open them. And from here, I'd like you to, if you have the space, maybe you find just a comfortable laying down position wherever you are. Maybe you just stay seated today at your desk if that's where you are, okay? But wherever you are, I'd like you to close your eyes or find a soft gaze. We're just taking a few moments using this quiet time for ourselves to refill our cup for the rest of the day, to nourish our body, our mind, our spirit. And as you take that time to yourself, I'm just going to end by playing the flute for you. So just receive the music today. wherever you are. If you're laying down, then maybe you slowly find your way to a seated position. If you're seated at your desk, maybe you slowly open your eyes and maybe you just spring your arms overhead for a nice stretch. Once you have arrived at your seated position, I want you to bring your hands in front of you. And I want you to rub them together as hard and as fast as you can, building that heat in between your hands. And I want you to close your eyes, and then I want you to cup your hands over top of your eyes. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. When you're ready, you can remove your hands from your eyes. And you can open your eyes when you're ready. And to end off our class today, I want you to take a deep breath in, bring your arms wide. And then on the exhale, I want you to give yourself a hug. And just pat yourself on the back saying, thanks, self. Good job today, self. Let's do it one more time. Bring your arms wide, deep breath in. And then exhale, switch arms this time. Thanks, self. Good job today, self. Awesome. Well, I hope everybody feels so much better, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye, everybody.
Hi, Sarah. Thank you for a relaxing and great session. All right, crew, we've had a busy morning here. Now we're going to take our first break. Here's your chance to stretch, grab a drink. We'll be back in about 10 or so minutes. We hope you enjoyed the interview, but we are going to get into our next keynote speaker, someone who I'm really excited to introduce. We're pleased to welcome our next speaker, Andre Bear. Andre is Kihêw from Treaty 6 territory. He graduated with his B.Ed degree through the ICAP program and is near completion of his law degree at the University of Saskatchewan. He's the former youth representative of the Federation of Sovereign Indigenous Nations and co-chair of the AFN National Youth Council. In 2006, Andre was appointed as an advisor to the Minister of Crown and Indigenous Relations Canada for the implementation of TRC Call to Action 66. At 26 years old, Andre most recently served on the Indigenous Bar Association Board of Directors and now serves as the Canadian Justice Commission. He is a writer, political advisor, and an advocate for inherent treaty rights. And today his session will be titled What It Means to Be a Treaty Indian. Also, I just want to mention Andre is a very good friend and a brother to me, and is a very played a crucial role in my life in helping me reconnect and be strong in my identity. So I just want to make sure you listen to what this man has to say. He's very knowledgeable and he speaks from his heart full of love. So welcome, Andre Bear.
Thank you, Curtis, and what an amazing presentation from DeFaro that was. I was fangirling from the backstage there. It was really cool and exciting to hear the young man and his perspectives and acting and everything like that. Thank you again, Curtis. You're doing a great job as MC of this event, and I just want to share my appreciation to everyone at MacEwan University in kihêw, Waciston. I had the pleasure of presenting last year, and I think you guys do an exceptional job, and that these youth conferences reach a lot of young people and share a lot of important teachings, as well as the McGillivrys. I play their songs every single day. I'm just going to do a little plug right now. If you guys have Apple Music, there's this album. It says Cree Meditation Album. I would just put in the search bar Leo and Priscilla McGillivray, and a lot of their songs on there, like, they're so beautiful. My favorite song is the first one. It's called Smudge for Us, Bless Us. And anytime I'm away from home or ceremony, you get really lonely. I play that song, and even in my car, and it's just instantly, it brings my mood up. So I want to give that special shout out to them and encourage you guys who have Apple Music to download that album. So to get started, danse no agumagantik. Hello everyone. Kitamskate na wow kakio. Want to thank all of you for being here. Nanas komuninto tawik. Thank you for listening to me. Nanas komun mamu tawi mau semanto, the creator, Nigawiyaski, Mother Earth. The highest angels next to the Creator, the spirit helpers, the medicine people, and the gifted, our ancestors that had passed on. I want to acknowledge and thank them. And so what I mean by that, just to share a little bit before I get started, is that there are different levels in the spirit world that we acknowledge when we pray, especially if you see somebody praying with a pipe. There are directions, and in the Cree way, when we pray, it's always to the Creator first, Mamu Tawe Mau, in the direction straight up, Nigawiiski, straight down. And to the east, we pray to the sun, êkiskwayihtamowin. And these are actual grandfathers, they're actual spirits. And when you acknowledge them, they help you in your life. And to the south, we have Ogumaupiasu, the thunderbird. To the west, we have êkiskwayihtamowin. There's an old man called the wind. And that is the breath of life and the oxygen that we breathe in every day. And then in the north, we have Pusquamustos, or êkiskwayihmustos, and that is the buffalo that watches over us and brings us life, food to eat, shelter, and all of that important stuff. And so that's how I pray, and that's how I like to open my sessions. And I encourage you to learn about that when you're developing your prayer, the cardinal directions of the Creator, Mother Earth, the sun, the thunderbird, the wind, and the buffalo, because those cardinal directions are going to help you as an Indigenous person not only reconnect to the Creator and those spirits, but reconnect with your own spirit and tap in to that ancestral knowledge that we have since time immemorial. And when I talked about oskaya, those are those high angels. It's that is the first doorway with the Creator. And there's a second doorway with êkiskwayihtamowin, and that's where the spirit helpers work for the angels and work for God. And below that are the mamustuagan, the medicine people and ancestors that passed on and begin working along that lineage. And then there's a fourth level as well. And that's where we are. And many people say that it's the world that we live in, but we just can't see it because we don't have, or some of us do, but many of us don't have the gift to see spirit. And so all of these teachings and everything that I know and learn, just to follow up with what Leo McGillivray was talking about, was that we always acknowledge where our teachings, our songs, our ceremonies come from. We always have to have that story. My teachings come from Fred Campio. He's my spiritual elder and teacher. He's a medicine man from the Drift Pile Cree Nation in Treaty 8 territory. And so we'll get into this now. Thank you for the introduction, Curtis. My name is Andre Bear. I grew up in the city of Saskatoon in the hood, and also on the reserve in Little Pine and Palmaker. I'm actually registered in Canoe Lake, but I never lived there before. My only resonance with family comes from Little Pine and Palmaker, and that is where I remember being on the land. And I actually never had a connection with ceremony growing up, ever. I never learned ceremony until I was about 18 years old. And the reason for that was because of Indian residential schools and the intergenerational trauma that follows with that. And I want to be very clear with you all that we need to understand just how much was taken through the Indian residential school system. And why I say that is because sometimes young people, when they don't have hope, it will be hard for them to make sense of why life is the way it is, why we are poor, why we have addictions, why many of us are homeless, why things are so hard on the reserve, and why it's so hard for young Indians to grow up in this world. And it's because of those Indian residential schools that so much of our pride and our dignity was taken from us and our families, and many instances were destroyed. And so my great grandparents went to Indian residential school. Their children, my grandparents, went to residential school. My mom went to residential school. And it really disrupted my family in a big way. When I was raised, unfortunately, my mother was an alcoholic because of all of the abuse she suffered in residential schools. And her parents didn't know how to raise her. And unfortunately, she had a difficult time raising her kids. So I was raised by a single mother who was a survivor from those schools with myself and my two older sisters. And it was very hard because we were poor. We had no money. My mom didn't have an education. We didn't have a house on the reserve. For 3 months on the reserve, we slept in a tent because nobody in our family wanted to keep us. And the reason for that is because when you have an alcoholic parent, unfortunately, people don't like to be around them because they can be abusive, they can be disruptive. And so that's what it was like for me growing up, surrounded by addictions, alcoholism, violence. I was apprehended twice by Child and Family Services. And I remember the day clearly of when a white social worker, this woman took me away from my mom and ripped me out of her arms. And so why I'm sharing this is because I'm hoping that it will resonate with some of the young people that are out there listening to me, because I grew up very similar to how so many Indigenous young people are still growing up today. And people think that being an adult is hard. People think that paying your bills is hard and trying to keep a roof over your heads. But to me, I believe that growing up is the hardest thing that we will ever experience in this life. And the reason for that is because our young people are suffering at the detriment of what happened in residential schools, how our families were disrupted by that system, how our language was taken away, our culture, our history, our pride, and our dignity. And so we have to work 10 times as hard to restore that, first within ourselves as young Indigenous people, and then work from there to trying to bring balance back to our families. And so it's critical that we understand where we come from. And next, I want to give you an idea of why Indian people are so spiritual. And it ties in with the theme of this conversation of what it means to be a treaty Indian. And this story I have heard from Sterling Day Chief, who had received it from Jimmy O'Cheese. And so I won't have time to explain the whole story, but just the gist of it, I want to make clear with the listeners. And so if you ever wonder why our people are so spiritual, why ceremony is so important, why our language and all of that is just so critical to who we are, the reason why is because of where we come from. And where we never came across the Bering Strait, we never came from Asia. We have always been here on this land since the beginning of time. And through our oral history and our ceremonies, we understand that a long time ago, there were people called the êkiskwayihtamowin. They were the first people created by God, Mamutawi Mausemanto. And there was laws that had come with human beings in this world. And one of those laws was never to perform incest. That means no kissing your cousins, no, none of that. And so when the first beings were created, there was 5 male, 5 female human beings. They are the êkiskwayihtamowin or the Nistamea, the firstborn. And because they weren't allowed to intermarry with each other, there was an issue. How are they going to have children, and how were our nations going to come to be? And so what had happened was those people had asked the Creator to help them have children. And what the Creator did was he asked his êkiskwayihtamowin, the angels, the spirits, the êkiskwayihtamowin, the spirit helpers, to take pity on his children, on these humans, and so they could procreate and make life, make children. And so why I'm telling you that story, and never forget this, your ancestors were spirits. That is why our ceremonies are powerful. That is why you have a sacred connection to this land that nobody else understands. Your spirits are the thunderbirds. Your spirits, your ancestors are the wind, the sun, the buffalo, all of those cardinal directions that I talked about. Those spirits made you with the êkiskwayihtamowin, and those are your ancestors. And that's why it's so critical to pray to them. That's why it's so critical to understand how to pray. And so just remember that and keep that in mind, that you are very, very special. You are very, very sacred. And when you pray, those spirits are going to hear you. And it's critical to understand that as a young person. And so next, I want to talk a little bit about treaty. And so being a treaty Indian is also important because the connection that I'm talking about through spirituality, it was protected and it was foresought a long time ago when our ancestors signed these treaties that things were going to change. This world was going to change. These systems were going to make our lives very difficult. And so our people, our ancestors, had that strong spiritual connection because our ancestors were also spirits. And so they were able to, they had foresight. They could see into the future. They could see us becoming lawyers and doctors and engineers and social workers and teachers and all of that important stuff. And they knew specific things to ask for in the treaty agreements. That's the treaty right to education, the treaty right to healthcare, housing, relief during times of sickness. And so it was because of those treaty agreements that we were able to have this support as treaty Indians today and keep our sovereignty as nations. And that is critical and important as a treaty person to understand your connection with the land, to try your best to learn your language. And like I said, I grew up in a very rough way. And when I moved to the city, it got even harder because I was so detached and disconnected from ceremony. And I started going into partying, drinking, and fighting and all of that. I was actually kicked out of 4 high schools. And I talked about some of those stories last year at the event. And it wasn't until I was about 18 years old when I went to my first sweat lodge and began to learn in our ceremonies that things began to change for me. I no longer had the desire to keep drinking, to keep partying, to keep fighting, and to stay on that dark path. Something changed inside me when I began attending ceremony and taking it seriously. And the way I understand it today is that my life no longer belongs to me. My life belongs to the Creator, and that my job and my purpose today is to work for the Creator in our ceremonies. It's to share these teachings, this knowledge, and my story, my experience with these young people, with you. And the reason why I'm able to do that is because our ancestors had suffered and sign these treaty agreements in a way that would protect our ceremonies. They would protect who we are as nations. And so we are very lucky that treaty has always supported us. So we have ancestors that held this divine responsibility to the Creator, and our job as êkiskwayihtamowin is to protect life and to defend creation. So like Leo and Priscilla McGillivray were talking about, we have to try and learn those songs because those songs can be very, very powerful. Some of those songs can call spirits in an instant when you need help, when somebody is sick, when you're scared, when you're afraid. And those songs are out there. This summer, when the sun dances start happening, I encourage each and every one of you to try and participate, to go and watch, and even consider dancing. But I will say, if you do that, when you when you decide that you want to Sundance, when you want to participate in our ceremonies, there is a profound responsibility and obligation that comes with that. And what I mean is it's almost like you are giving your life to the Creator. And it's at that point that your life no longer belongs to you. You can't live the same way that you were before. You cannot keep drinking. You cannot keep partying. You cannot keep um, um, fighting or anything like that. It's almost like a contract that you sign with the spirit world, and that you have to live for the Creator. You have to learn our language and our history about our treaty relationship, and that is the profound responsibility that we have um, in our ceremonies. And if you ever heard the term in treaty, as long as the sun shines, the grass grows, and the rivers flow, I always thought that was like a really pretty, a pretty quote from treaty. And it wasn't until that I kept going to ceremony that I started to understand more about what that meant. And when they say as long as the sun shines, they're talking about êkiskwayihtamowin, that cardinal direction I talked about. When as long as the grass grows, they're talking about the sweetgrass, waciston. He's another spirit helper, or êkiskwayihtamowin angel that helps us. And as long as the rivers flow, that could also refer to the biasuak, the thunderbirds, because they bring rain and they bring water, life to our people. And so when people are talking about treaty and they say treaty is going to exist for as long as the sun shines, the grass grows, and the rivers flow, there's also another one that should be in there, and it's as long as the wind blows. And that would refer to êkiskwayihtamowin, the wind in the west, the cardinal direction that we also pray to speak for us, to help us. And so every time you're talking about treaty, you're actually talking about our laws and the importance of of the spirit world and how that relates in our lives. So it's very interesting, and it's very profound knowledge to gather when you learn about treaty, and what it means when you are a treaty Indian. And to put it simply, is that when you are a treaty Indian, you have this obligation that is profound, to protect life and to defend creation. And you never really truly know how important life is until you lose somebody that you love, that is really close to you. Or if, God forbid, you ever get sick and you're on a hospital bed, and you pray and beg the Creator to heal you and bring you life, that's when you know, and that's when you begin to understand how precious, how important your life is. And so there's one thing that I wanted to share with you all, and if you have any kind of resources, elders, or adults with you, if you feel triggered by what I share, I encourage you to have those resources available to you. And the reason why is because I'm going to talk a little bit about suicide and what that means through our Indian way, our laws. And I'm going to tell you a poem from my book. I'm going to be publishing a book in the next year. And this will be the first time I've ever read this poem out loud. So it's something kind of special for you guys, and I hope you enjoy it. But what this poem is referring to is when I was young and I was in the party stage still. I was about 17. I remember being at a party, and I remember drinking too much, and I went back to my house, and I don't know why. I must have been really sad, or this spirit of suicide must have followed me home. But for some reason, when I got home and I was coming in and out of consciousness, I decided that I wanted to end my life at 17. And so I ended up going to the kitchen cupboard, and grabbing as much medication and pills as I could, and I began swallowing them. And I went down to my room in bed and I fell asleep. And in my when I fell asleep, something happened to me, and I'm going to share the poem that'll describe what happened to me when I fell asleep. Another word for alcohol is soul eater. I wish I understood that growing up. Blacking out every now and then never seemed so bad, until I woke up in a place full of red sand, buried up to my neck, surrounded by other young men, naked and crying to go home. There was no sun in this place, just a cold, dark, and deserted field. I didn't know what real shame was until I went to hell. But it wasn't the one the Bible talks about. The only fire was in the sky with no sun, and in the eyes of the other boys crying for help. No one warned me, or any of us for that matter, about what happens when you take your own life. I guess it's no different than killing someone else. Eventually, we will have to pay for taking the Creator's child away. I heard sleigh bells in the distance and shifted my focus above the other boys buried in the sand. A group of clowns danced towards me, holding buffalo skulls wrapped in chains. They grinned with bright white eyes and asked me to go with them. They told me they were taking me to the Creator, but in exchange, I had to work for them and tell my story about those other boys, still buried, waiting to be saved too. So that is the poem that I wrote in my book, and it talks about the experience that I had when I attempted suicide as a young man. And the reason why I share that is because when I did that, I was taken to a very dark place. And through our laws and through our ceremonies, we understand that when you take your own life, it's the same as taking the life of another person. And unfortunately, you don't go to the Creator immediately. Sometimes you have to wait until it was your time to go. So if you were meant to pass away at 70 years old, that's how long you have to wait in that place. And these are very real, spiritual, sacred, and important things that we have to remember as Indian people, because whether you like it or not, as an Indian, as a treaty Indian, you have these spiritual obligations to learn in our ceremonies, to know our history, and to have an understanding about the spirit world, because we are not a lawless people. We have laws. This Indigenous legal order has a profound effect on our lives and on the lives of our families, our children. And we have to be very careful in how we live and the decisions and choices we make as Indian people. And we can do that by learning. We can do that by listening, by going to ceremony, by getting your Indian name, by learning your language and educating yourself about treaty, our history, our ancestors, and everything they went through to ensure that we have rights today as Indian people. We have to find ways to work with the land. And the number one thing that I'll leave you with, is my time coming up? Yeah, okay. So the number one thing, last thing that I'll leave you with is from Harold Johnson. He was a good friend that passed away not long ago, very close to myself and our MC Curtis. He was a lawyer that got a master's degree from Harvard Law. And he, in one of his books, Peace and Good Order, he talks about, he asks the question why so many of our Indian young people are having such a hard time, and why suicide is so prevalent in our communities. And he talks about it, it's not poverty that's the issue, because there are many countries out there that are far more poorer than our reserves, but you don't see those kids going to that extent. And the reason for it, he talks about in his book, is that our kids don't need money. They don't need all of these materialistic stuff. What our kids need is hope. And so the most important thing that you can do as young people is to find hope. And you're going to find it in our ceremonies. Êkiskwayihtamowin. Hi, hi.
Thank you very much, Andre, for sharing your truth, your knowledge, and a powerful message as we head into our lunch break. To the young people listening, if you were triggered or feel overwhelmed by kind of what was spoken in our last section there with Andre, make sure you reach out to someone like a teacher, an elder, a parent, a guardian, someone you can trust. You're not alone, and it's really important, a powerful message that our young people need to hear, to know the power of story and to believe in yourself, that you're able to accomplish. And even kind of tying in with what DeFaro was saying, he never saw himself going and doing the things he's doing. And I know Andre is similar in the stuff he's accomplishing as well. And it's just believe in yourself and create, and going to these ceremonies, praying, your life will change. And I can agree to that. I've seen it in my own life, of things that you never thought would happen all of a sudden just happen, and it doesn't mean everything's just good. There's definitely difficulties, but then you have a hope, you have a light that you can depend on. So thank you very much, Andre, for your beautiful words. I hope you have a great day. For the rest of our conference, we're going to be heading into our lunch break. We're a little bit over. We will be back in about, let's see what time it is. We'll be back in about 24, 25 minutes, coming back at 12:30 for our afternoon sessions. So we hope you enjoyed this morning. It was a great time. If you have any questions, make sure you put them in the chat, and make sure you go support our speakers so far on Instagram or social media. Make sure you tag us, tag our speakers, and share something that you've learned this morning. So we hope you have a great lunch break. You guys. Welcome back to the Indigenous Youth Rising Conference. We hope you had a great lunch, got some food, and are ready for an awesome afternoon. We're going to jump right back into our program, and I just want to remind you, if you have any questions, comments for our speakers, make sure you type them in the chat function. Also, make sure that you use social media, make sure you tag our speakers, follow them, support them in their journeys. And in this afternoon, to start off afternoon, we're going to be doing some spotlight. So our session is called Spotlight On, where we'll be joined by 3 inspiring artists and changemakers from across Turtle Island. They're each going to share a bit about their journeys, what inspires them. 2 of them are incredible singers, so they'll be also performing for us today. So to start off our first Spotlight On, I'm going to introduce Kyron Potts. Our first spotlight is a proud Two-Spirit Wednesday man from Alexis Nakota Sioux Nation, originally from Edmonton. He now lives and works in Toronto as an Indigenous youth advocate, motivational speaker, resource developer, content creator, fashion model, actor, and comedian. His creative projects allowed him to utilize platforms such as TikTok, Instagram, and Twitch to share his culture, his passions, and some laughs with others. His youth advocacy work centers around queer Indigenous youth in care, mental health awareness, Two-Spirit gender identity, and life promotion. Welcome, Kyron.
Hi, Abowashte, Tanse. How's everyone doing? Thank you so much for having me.
No, it's awesome to see you and to be able to have you here. So let's just get right into it. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where you grew up?
For sure. Well, that bio was amazing. I didn't write it, but it made me sound really cool, so I appreciate that. One thing though is that I'm actually living in Vancouver now. I no longer live in Toronto. I just moved about a month ago, so pretty brand new to being a Vancouverite. Definitely though, loving Toronto. It was amazing. It was like a mini New York. I felt so awesome there, and I grew up in Treaty 6. That's my home. I'm from the Alexis Nakota Sioux Nation, and a lot of my family is from Paul First Nation, and I grew up in Edmonton for 27 years. So that's where I call home, and that's where I'm coming from, and it's always going to be where my heart is. But right now, I'm working as a content creator full time. Finally made the big jump and quit my full time gig this year, or sorry, I guess last year now. But Yeah, I've been doing that full time now, streaming, making content, doing a lot of content writing, which is really fun, and just trying to see where the wind takes me. And Vancouver is where it's taken me so far, and I can't wait to see where it takes me next.
Awesome, and that's been exciting to hear, and also following your journey from Edmonton, now to Toronto, to Vancouver, all around. So what made you decide to start creating content on TikTok?
Well, it takes us, I think it takes a certain person, a certain type of person to be somebody who puts themselves out there in that kind of a way. Someone who's okay with having a lot of eyes on them, who feels like they have a lot to share. And ever since I was a kid, I always was a storyteller. I was always performing. I mean, I was in a traditional dance group. I was a powwow dancer for a long time, and then I was a square dancer, a Métis dancer for 15 years, traveling all across Canada and performing. I was doing a lot of singing. I was in theater and drama. So it really is not surprising that I'm going online making all these crazy videos every day for people to consume. It's just, I think I'm a natural storyteller. I love telling stories. I love making people laugh. Indigenous laughter and Indigenous joy is just always, always the goal, just to remind young people that life can still be fun. You don't have to kind of always be weathering the storm. You can just laugh and enjoy life. So I think that's where it comes from. It's just always being a natural storyteller, having something to say. Even if people don't want to listen to it, I'm cool with tweeting to 0 followers. It's all good for me. Like I'll still be doing it. You know what I mean?
No, for sure. And you mentioned it, the humor and comedy that come with your videos. I know that every time I watch your stuff, I'm excited because you usually get a good laugh. Um, and with those skits you have on TikTok, from anti-radio to Betsy's Drag Race, Res Chicks, what was your favorite character or skit, if you could pick one?
Geez. Well, anytime I do like, for example, an anti character, because I don't necessarily just do like one sort of anti character. It's kind of just like a bunch of experiences that I've gone through in my life with my aunties, because I was raised by my aunties and by my older cousins who are kind of like my aunties, and they kind of all encompass this one specific type of auntie in my life who's really kind of stern and like loving, but like still very like strict and like funny and a little rank, and like just having all of that at all the time all together at one time is like just the perfect character. And so every single time I do skits or like videos or anything that are inspired by that type of an auntie, I'm always pulling it from like my own personal experiences, my friends and family. And it's definitely my favorite because it's a good opportunity to just say some funny things, and also to like wear wigs and like cool makeup and like some funny clothing, and like it's just a whole lot of fun. It's being somebody that you aren't, but at the same time, like I think there's a little bit of an anti in all of us.
Definitely. I know a lot of your videos have been really popular on TikTok. What was it like going viral for the first time?
It was scary. Holy frick. It was scary. It was like I remember I posted a video once. This was like almost 2 years ago now. Holy crap. I posted a video and it took me like 2 minutes to make. And then I remember I had, I think, 600 followers at the time, which was a lot for me. I was killing it in my mind. And then I took a nap. I posted the video because my videos don't do well. So I knew it would get max, like maybe 100 views. That was fine for me. I took a nap and I woke up 40 minutes later, and I think by that point it already had like 380,000 views in just less than an hour, and I was freaking out. And I got 12,000 followers that day in one day, which was crazy. And it just kept going and going until it got to 2.5 million. And I was like, oh my gosh, what the heck? And then immediately the next day, I made a video about like two-spirit identity and like homophobia in the community and like all these different things that mean a lot to me. And I kind of harnessed my two seconds of fame just to try to like push some eyes towards some important issues for me. And yeah, ever since then, I don't know, I've created this kind of platform where people, I get them laughing, and then I'm like, yeah, keep laughing, but then also like think about all of these other great things that you should be learning about. So it's a really nice blend of both.
No, for sure. And again, perfect segue into the next question and then discussion. Part of this discussion is, I know you do a lot of work around mental health and two-spirit advocacy for youth. what advice would you give for youth joining us today who may be struggling with identity or mental health?
Well, here's the thing. There's no right or wrong way to be an Indigenous person. There's no right or wrong way to live. And I think that that's one thing that we as young people are getting caught up in, is this idea of like, on social media you have to be a specific type of person. And if you're going to say that you're an Indigenous person, you got to put it in your bio, and then you have to like walk the walk, and you have to do all this like water protection and all these like you have to go into these protests and on the front line and all this kind of stuff. And that's true. Like that's a big part of the activism work and all that kind of stuff. But they're forgetting that like you don't need to have this invisible pressure to be somebody that you're not, especially when it's making you uncomfortable. Like you can just simply exist as an Indigenous person, and that is enough. You don't need to prove your indigeneity by taking on all of this unnecessary trauma and legwork and responsibility to educate people. It's really exhausting, and it will stunt a lot of your personal development, because you need to go on your own journey. You need to like get through your own life chapters. You can't skip ahead to the end and then start giving out lessons and education and teachings about things you're still learning yourself. Like, give yourself time to just enjoy your life and to be going through those checkpoints in your life at a natural pace, instead of trying to be somebody that you're not. And the minute that you feel uncomfortable with any of that, your body will literally tell you, like, this doesn't ring true, this isn't authentic, let's not do this. Listen to your body, and know that like you just being who you are is enough. That is Indigenous in itself. You don't need to take on all of these other identities that are out there. Just be you. And I know that sounds so cheesy, but it's honestly so true. Just be you, do what makes you happy, and do what comes naturally.
Definitely, and that's so important for our young people to hear, especially with social media and what is portrayed. It's often that people can get overwhelmed, especially within that Indigenous identity. And when it comes to your work in Two-Spirit advocacy, what is something that you would like to, I know you just mentioned it in terms of all Indigenous youth and identities, but specifically for Two-Spirit people and youth, what message do you want to send to them in terms of being your success and your story, maybe potentially mentioning some of your struggles?
Yeah, for sure. There's no right or wrong way to be Two-Spirit. However, I really encourage, and I would love for young people who are on this journey of self-discovery to recognize that it's just that, it's a journey. And this idea of this identity of Two-Spirit, like Two-Spirit is such a complex concept in so many different nations, and this term, this English colonial term Two-Spirit, tries and fails to completely encapsulate everything that revolves around this Two-Spirit world, this identity. And for my personal community and the way that I grew up and the things that I was taught, that all comes from my own community. That comes from my elders. That comes from my knowledge keepers. That comes from people speaking my language, telling me these things. And it's not going to be the same. Let's say, for example, I went down to the Blood Reserve in Treaty 7, which is pretty close to where I grew up. However, completely different set of beliefs, different culture, different language. And that's important to note, that there's so many different complexities when it comes to Two-Spirit identity. And when we talk about being Two-Spirit, we need to always remember that there's a cultural aspect there. There's a sense of community, of duties, of roles, responsibilities, of places in ceremony. And I think that it is a journey as a young person, being a Two-Spirit person, trying to figure out what that Two-Spirit identity is, and then to take it on. It's somewhat of a responsibility, in my opinion, because now that I'm identifying as Two-Spirit, I recognize that with that, in my community comes a certain duty to young people, to educate, to teach, to be a good role model, to go and discover things and bring back news and teachings and education for these young people, to walk a path that may not necessarily be walked a lot, and to kind of carve a path for young people to follow. That's a good one. And that's one of those teachings that I was given as a young person, is like, if you're going to be a proud Two-Spirit person, you have to treat people well. You have to be a bringer of medicine, that person that goes in the in-between and brings people together. It's not about divisiveness. It's not about lateral violence. It's really about leading with lateral love and being that medicine person. That's that wink there. That's that êkiskwayihtamowin, that nijmanadu. That's that identity of being a two-spirit person. So if you're a young person and you're wanting to get on this journey, I wish you so much love and so much joy, and I hope that your journey is surrounded by nothing but that love and that respect that you truly deserve. And if you go into a situation in the community where you're trying to learn about two-spirit identity and you're met with anything like shame, if you're met with anything like harm, abuse, of ignorance, that's not the space for you. And recognize that right away, that is not a space for you to learn. You're not going to get any teachings or any medicine out of that ceremony if you don't feel safe in it. So you find a community that will accept you and that will celebrate you.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I really feel that's so important for our young people to hear. And we have about 2 minutes left, and I kind of want to leave it open to you to kind of let people know where they can follow you and what platforms you're on, and also if you have any closing words or statements you'd like to make before we end our session here.
For sure. Well, first of all, you can follow me on all socials at oskayiryn, oskayiryn. It's just my name, Kyron, but it's like, oh, Kyron, kind of like that. Or it could be like, oh, Kyron. Depends on how you want to say it, but that's my socials. I stream live on Twitch almost every day, about 4 or 5 times a week. So if you want to check me out on Twitch, it's just twitch.tv/oskayiryn. And I play a lot of games. I'm playing Apex Legends right now, which I'm loving. And eventually, this is just a little insider, I'm going to be starting up, co-founding an organization called Nichi Clan with some other really big content creators in the community who are gamers and live streamers. And we're creating an Indigenous clan full of gamers and streamers. And we're going to take the digital gaming world by storm and create a safer space for Indigenous people in gaming, in live streaming. We're going to get into esports. We're going to host tournaments. We're going to get some deadly events together. We're going to get sponsorships. I'm currently in talks with EA Sports, which is awesome. So look forward to all of the great things that are coming with Nichi Clan, and I hope that you guys get involved with it and you stay inspired, stay hungry for all of the great things that life throws at you, and just be open to saying yes to things that scare you. Like, I get scared all the time when I do things, but I get excited by it. That fear and that my heart racing and my blood going cold. It's like it's go time, it's game time. It's either like now or never. And give yourself some really great, just 1 minute of just insane confidence. And even if you're scared to do it, just do it. Feel that fear and then just do it anyway. And you can be amazed at the kind of things that can happen in your life because you deserve it. And who deserves it more than you? Nobody. And that's what I always say. It's like, if not me, who? Just somebody else? Like, don't be scared to take up space, and don't be scared to be the main character in your own life. And that's what I'll say. Ishnish, hi. Thank you so much, Curtis. And thank you to MacEwan. I'm an alumni from MacEwan. I love the school, and I love being able to come back and being able to talk to students and the community doing things like this. So I really appreciate it. Nanaskuman.
Thank you very much, Kyron, for joining us, for sharing your story, the amazing work you do, and for continuing to usher a message of hope for our young people. Best of luck to you and continued success, and can't wait to see the work that you continue to do. Thank you, Kyron. We're going on to our next spotlight, folks. We're going to be introducing, I will be introducing Becca Strong. Our next speaker is Rebecca Strong, a proud Aboriginal woman from Stony Rapids, Saskatchewan. She is 18 years old and majoring in music at the University of Saskatchewan. She has been performing on stages since she was 5 years old and plans to pursue a career in music. She posts covers on Instagram and YouTube and TikTok. She loves entertaining people with live concerts from her bedroom and dreams to turn those into real stage tours. Welcome, Becca.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's great to have you here. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of where you grew up?
Yeah, of course. Well, thank you for having me. That bio, I wrote it, so there. I put a lot of information in there, but I didn't include that I'm from Treaty 8. I'm from Stony Rapids, a little town right at the tip of Saskatchewan. I do live in Prince Albert though. And yeah, so I started singing when I was like literally born. I was born into a musical family. We were called the Thunder and the Sky Dancers, my dad and my sisters and I. But then in 2019, around there, I did go solo because my dad posted a video of me playing Sober by Demi Lovato on the piano, and it went crazy on Facebook. And that was like one of my little breaks that I got. I got a lot of gigs after that, and it was honestly crazy. And then I decided to start a TikTok. It was just like a little friend thing. And then I gained a following, and now I do live streams of me singing.
Awesome. That's awesome to hear your journey. And I actually remember seeing that video on Facebook when you went viral there. You're currently in university. What are your plans after you finish school?
Yes, I am in university. I am majoring in music. I hope that something happens with music that I can pursue my career. But if not, then I do have a backup plan, which is probably like voice lessons or something along that route.
Awesome. That'd be amazing. Another question with that. So I'm just gonna kind of manifest it. Like things will happen in terms of music for you. Is recording an album one of those things that you want to accomplish?
Yes, it is. I do. I'm really bad at writing songs. I've tried it before. It literally sounds like I'm like writing for like a school project because that's all I've
Yeah.
like song for.
Yeah.
But I do have plans to record music and make my own music, and I hope that it happens soon because I know so many people are waiting for me to release something original.
Definitely, and we'll be excited when that happens. Which songs do you get requested to sing the most on TikTok?
Right now it's Easy on Me by Adele. Everyone loves
Okay.
it. And Creep by Radiohead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I will stop talking, and you're going to be performing a couple songs for us today. Which songs will you be singing for us, and why did you choose them?
That's actually so funny because I literally am going to sing Easy on Me and Creep because Creep is a really, I don't know how to explain it. It's a song that I've been singing for the past year and a half now, and I just the feeling of the song and the message of the song is really like close to me, and I love singing it. And Easy on Me, Adele is my idol. I've loved her since I was like 9. So of course I had to sing something from her, and it's her most popular song right now. So yeah.
Definitely awesome. Well, whenever you're ready, take it away.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, this is Creep by Radiohead. When you were here before, couldn't look you in the eye. You're just like an angel. Your skin makes me cry. You float like a feather in a beautiful world. You're so very special. I wish I was special, but I'm a creep. Well, I'm a widow. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. I don't care if it hurts. I wanna have control. I want a perfect body. I want a perfect soul. I want you to notice when I'm not around. You're so very special. I wish I was special, but I'm a creep. Well, I'm a widow. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. Why? She's running out the door. She's running. She run, run. Ever makes you happy. Whatever you want. You're so very special. I wish I was special, but I'm a creep. I'm a widow. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. I don't belong here. Okay, great. That was Creep by Radiohead. And I guess I'm just going to move on to the next song. The next song is Easy on Me by Adele, one of my most requested songs. There ain't no gold in this river that I've been washing my hands in forever. I know there is hope in these waters, but I can't bring myself to swim when I am drowning in this silence, baby. Let me go easy on me, baby. I was still a child, didn't get the chance to feel the world around me. I had no time to choose what I chose to do. So go easy on me. There ain't no room for things to change when we are both so deeply stuck in our ways. You can't deny how hard I've tried. Change who I was to put you both first, but now I give up. Go easy on me, babe. I was still a child, didn't get the chance to see the world around me. I had no time to choose what I chose to do. So go easy on me. Well, I had good intentions in the highest hopes, but I know right now probably doesn't even show. Go easy on me, babe. I was still a child, didn't get the chance to see the world around me. Had no time to choose what I chose to do. So go easy on me. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking time to come not only share your story, but your beautiful voice. I wish you the best in what's up to you, and I hope that you get to record that album, because I know many young people would be anxious to hear it and also hear someone that also looks like them and comes from a similar story, and being Indigenous is really important, that representation. So best of luck for you. Thank you very much for your time. And crew, we're going to head to our final spotlight.
Thank you.
No problem. So I'd like to introduce Spur Poirier. Our third and final spotlight guest is 29-year-old traditional music artist from Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota. He grew up taking part in ceremonies such as sweat, sun dances, learning ceremonial songs and their meanings. Today, he is a Native American Music Award nominated singer with over 1 million listens across all platforms. He sings to help others and bring joy to people through song. Please welcome Spur Poirier.
Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can.
Oh, I ruined it.
No, all good, all good. There's some of the technology. It can be hard sometimes to be on the same page. But welcome. Great to have you here. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of where you grew up and kind of how you got into singing?
Okay, yeah. Hello, everybody. My name is Spur Poirier. I come from the Ogallala Nation in South Dakota on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. I'm 29 years old, and I started getting into singing pretty much just growing up my whole life. My cousin, Jerome LeBeau, he has his own Sundance, and he does ceremonies and sweat. So ever since I was like maybe 3 to 5 years old, I just remember always going to ceremony, learning the songs, learning the ceremonies, Sundance, all the songs that are used during ceremony. Those are in prayer songs. Those are like my first main songs that I learned. And then as the years went on, I got into round dance music, love songs. So that's what I create now. I still create prayer songs too. So yeah, just ever since as long as I can remember, I was around the music, and I was able to pick it up and learn.
Awesome. You've released 2 studio albums so far. What's it like recording in a studio?
It's crazy, man. I have my own little equipment that I have at my house too, but I was able to go to some big studios like in Phoenix. Me and my buddy, I went down there with him and recorded some music down there, and it was crazy. That same studio we was in is the same studio like Lil Wayne and all these big name guys are in. So just being in that environment was cool. But yeah, I got two Round Nuts albums out right now, and they're doing really good, and it's a blessing.
Awesome, for real. So maybe we can potentially see some Lil Wayne features in the future.
I hope so.
What's one of your favorite things about performing?
Shit, I think just the positive feedback, you know, like even just online, but like live. Just my first time going places and just singing like native traditionally, doing it like live, you know.
Yeah.
The positive feedback I get from it, it's a blessing. And then people, like even online, like I get messages all the time, like people sending me clips of their babies, like their kids going to bed, you know, listening to my music. And it's just, to me, that's what it's all about, is our kids, you know. Like I like my son, he's 5 and he's just now starting to sing too. So just like all my nephews, all my nieces, they're all singing. So yeah, it's just all about the kids.
That's amazing. That I'm sure that makes your heart warm when you see what impact your music and your songs have on not only other people but other people's kids. You're going to be performing a couple songs for us today.
Yeah.
Which songs will you be singing, and why did you choose them?
I want to share one of my Round Dance songs that I composed. I covered this song called Sky World. I'm sure some of you guys heard that, and it's about like our relatives who passed on. And I had this lady reach out to me, ask if she could use that for her son's slideshow at his wake and his funeral. And then I was thinking, damn, I didn't even make that song or anything. So I just told her, what about I like try to compose a song just for you and your son? And she was more than happy about that. So I composed this song for her, and this one's called "I Wonder Why," and it's like a memorial song composed to her son. So I'll sing that one, and I'll sing some prayer songs or something too. Okay, so this one's "I Wonder Why." Way oh hey way ho, way oh I oh hey oh hey I, way oh hi oh hey oh ho, way oh hi oh hey oh ho, way oh hi oh way oh hi oh hey hey way oh ha way oh hey oh way hey way oh hey oh ha hey oh hey ho well hey oh hey oh hey oh. As I look in the sky, I wonder why you had to leave me. Now I'm here all alone, wishing you would come home. Hey oh hey oh hey way oh hey oh way oh way oh I oh way oh way I way oh hi oh way oh way oh hi oh way oh way oh hi oh oh, hey, hey, way, oh, ha, way, oh, hey, oh, way, oh, way, oh, ha, Hey oh, hey oh, well. Hey oh, hey oh, hey oh. As I look in the sky, I wonder why you had to leave me. Now I'm here all alone, wishing you would come home. Hey oh, hey oh, hey oh. Aho, wopila.
Thank you for that song, man. You can, and then if you're ready, you can go right into your prayer song.
Okay, yeah.
If you'd like. Yep.
I'll sing 2 of them, just one push up, and then I'll go into the next one. But this first song I want to sing, I just want to say that, like, even like some songs can just be straight with no words, or we can put our like Lakota language in them too, you know. And then just one song just has just one word in it, and all it says is Wani Wachielo, and that means I want to live. And then it says Wakantaka in the middle of it too, so it says creator. So basically this song just says, creator, I want to live. Just repetitively, you know, it's just the melody of our prayer songs are just so beautiful. So I'm gonna go into that one, and then I'll go into another song that I composed that my cousin Jerome, like I was saying, I go to his ceremonies and his sweats, and when he prays, at the end of his prayer, he says this word, he says this little sentence, and he says, Mitakuya ob, waniktacha lecha muelo. And that word means, I do this so my people may live. And I remember growing up hearing that, like, damn, that's strong. That's strong. I want to try to put that into a song, like last year, a couple years ago. So I came up with so I said, Tunkashila omakiyayo, mitakuya ob, waniktacha lecha muelo. So it's basically saying, Creator, help me, like help us all. I do this, we do this so our people may live. And that just means like anything, you know, just like being traditional, living our ways of life. So I came up with that song. So I just want to share those two, and it'll be quick. Wani wachielo, wani wachielo, wani wachielo, hey, wani wachielo, Wani wachielo, wani wachielo, hey, oi, wakatankai, wani wachielo, wakatankai, Wani wachielo, hey, wani wachielo, wani wachielo, wani wachielo, hey. Oh, now we're going to the other one now. Tonka Shailai, Tonka Shailai, Tonka Shailai, oh Makiayo, oh Makiayo, hey yo. Mitakuye wanika chale chamu Elohe hoy hoy konka shelai oh makiyayo, oh makiyayo. Hey, tonka shelai, tonka shelai, tonka shelai. Oh makiyayo, oh makiyayo, hey yo. Mitakuyeyo, wanikta chale, chamu Elohe, oy oy, tonka shela, oh makiayo, oh makiayo, hey yo. Hope you laugh.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing those songs. We have about 4 minutes left here. Is there anything you'd like to share? If there's, an upcoming album you're working on, or if there's your social media you'd like to share, or at the end, like a message that you'd like the youth to know about singing, about our ceremonial songs?
Yeah, I just wanna say that. Yeah, I do got my third album getting ready to drop like soon here. It's pretty much finished. I'm just waiting on my design because I'm gonna drop some t-shirts and sweater with it. Yeah, my socials are just at Spurpuyer and shit. Just thankful, just thankful for the love and support that I get from everybody near and far. You know what I mean? And it's just a blessing. But one thing I just wanna share more is like our prayer songs and our songs that are sacred and the songs that we can't lose. Like for a while there, it seems like our language sometimes is lost. And I remember getting told one time to share music, because sometimes I kind of get a lot of negative feedback about like sharing prayer songs online, but I hardly even do that no more. But that's like my main request. People ask me to like post more prayer songs, but the ones that I sell are just strictly around that music. I don't like sell none of my prayer songs or nothing like that. But I just want to say that those songs are like even some of the older ones, like thousands of years old. Those are songs that we can't lose. So like I just want to just say that to encourage the young ones to learn those songs. Let's learn these songs that we can never lose. And I'm gonna continue to do it. I'm gonna continue to share prayer songs, all the music, because it's a lot of people say it's a blessing, and knowing that I can do that just by singing, doing what I love, it's a blessing to me, and I'm very thankful. And yeah, just thank you guys for listening to the music and for having me on today.
No problem at all. Thank you so much for sharing your songs and a message of obviously continuing on these songs and learning them and passing them on, so our younger generation can hear and continue on, and we keep and don't lose these teachings and these songs that are so near and dear to us. So then, thank you very much for joining us, and best of luck with your third album drop. We hope it does really well.
Thank you.
Crew, make sure you guys go follow, support Spur, and keep up tabs with his career and things that are going on in his life. So thank you very much, man. Have a great day. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
Good day and be safe. Thank you.
Thank you. So next, we are now going to move into our next session, which is all about Indigenous entrepreneurs. So this year, we're happy to feature 2 women entrepreneurs from the Edmonton area who have turned their passions into businesses. So our first speaker is Jessica Sanderson Berry, artist and owner of J Shine Design. Jessica is kihêw, full-time Cree artist, designer, and high tanner. And I'll try to pronounce this my best. Chaka Safi Bastin, band in Treaty 6 territory. Sorry about that, I totally butchered that. Jessica has created her wearable art under the name J Shine Designs and is currently working out of Edmonton, Alberta. She combines both traditional and contemporary beading styles into her art and uses elements from the land, such as traditionally tanned hides. Her art practice is influenced by her Cree roots, her lived experience, and the land surrounding her. Please welcome Jessica.
Hi, Tansei. How are you? Thank you so much for welcoming me with that introduction. So let me just share my screen. I'm going to start out with my presentation here. Just give me 1 second. Thank you. Okay, just checking if you could see my screen.
Yes, we can. Yep.
Perfect. Tansei Jessica Sanderson Berry Nitsigason êkiskwayihtamowin Chaka Sapason Band Otsinia. Hi, my name is Jessica Sanderson Berry. I am a Cree woman and I'm from Chaka Sapason Band, located in Treaty 6 territory. It's about 45 minutes east of Prince Albert. So I have a daughter, a stepson, I'm an auntie to a 6-year-old niece, and I have an amazing husband, Sheldon. Firstly, I'd just like to thank the organizers for bringing us together in such a good way. You know, I'm excited to share this space with you all today, and I was just asked today to share some of my journey, you know, as a Cree artist, a beginner high tanner, entrepreneur, and owner of J-Shine Designs. So I'll be speaking about my past experience and how art reawakened my spirit. So these are actually my grandmother's and some pictures of my grandfather's. So I have relatives from both Chaka Sapason Band. I come from the Sanderson Burns family, and Musquetees, which is the Good and Lightning family. So on the far right are my late grandparents, George Gooden and my grandmother, Clara Sanderson, who was a residential school survivor from Gordon's Residential School. You know, she was my rock, my mom. You know, she was so resilient in many different ways. And the reason why I wanted to show you my relatives, it's important to me to know who I am and where I come from. And I just wanted to honor them today because without them, I would not be here today without them. So I just have so much gratitude for each and every one of them. So my path was not linear by any means. So a little bit about myself. You know, I was born and raised in Edmonton, Alberta, Treaty 6 territory. And here's just a quick capture of different places in my life, you know, from kindergarten to grade 9, grade 12 to post-secondary. And I'm the first one in my family to attain a degree. You know, my first degree was a Bachelor of Business Administration, major in accounting, and my second was a Bachelor of Arts, major Native Studies and minor Women Gender Studies. You know, post-secondary was never really spoken of within my family, but when I was in high school and when I did graduate, they actually graduated me on the basis of having just only a little over about 100 credits, you know, and I've never received my high school diploma due to missing my social 30s course. You know, and I carried a lot of shame for that. And so when I graduated, you know, my first degree in accounting, you know, and walking up on that stage and receiving my first eagle feather, you know, I just let go of that shame. And so that shame I no longer carry, and I'm just proud of how far I've come. So I'm the first one in my family to attain a degree. And I truly believe that every person has their own path, and every path is different. So the journey of J-Shines to J-Shine Creations to J-Shine Designs, you know, I never grew up learning how to bead from my kin. You know, this was stopped at my late great-grandmother, Jenny Lightning Gooden. You know, my first time picking up a bead needle was in high school, and I learned from late Hilda Saddleback. And she just planted those little seeds. And so between 2000 and 2014, there were times where I would stop beading because either it looked really bad or I just didn't have any mentors to show me how I could learn and grow as a beadworker or as an artist. You know, my lines were pretty bumpy and the beadwork just didn't look like the way I envisioned it. So over the years, I learned from different knowledge keepers, but every time I would always come back to beadwork. And now I recognize this as having, you know, that blood memory. You know, I created J-Shine Creations in 2014. And I remember attending my first powwow as a vendor and only sold probably just a few pairs of earrings. And of course, in my mind, I just questioned my abilities, and I decided to take a step back and quit beadwork just because I felt like I wasn't, I don't know, I felt like my art wasn't, didn't express like who I was at that time. So I did take a step back in 2014. Fast forward to 2017, I applied through the U of A Faculty of Native Studies, and I was selected to attend a land-based hide camp where we learned how to tan hides traditionally in Sousa Creek near Grand Cache, Alberta. So when I was there, it was my first time seeing how this traditional practice was done. You know, it was amazing being immersed on the land, you know, with knowledge keepers and community members, just teaching us different ways of knowing and how to tan hides. You know, it really felt like a reawakening of my spirit as an êkiskwayihtamowin Cree woman, you know, being connected to the Muswa in ways where I felt my ancestors were there with me, alongside me, you know, fleshing that moose hide. It really resonated with me. I didn't know at that time, but 70 years back, probably like 1940s, 50s, my late great grandmother tanned hides with my grandpa, you know, working on multiple hides at the same time. You know, my great grandmother made the most beautiful moccasins, beadwork, and this was her livelihood, supporting her family through her beadwork. You know, tanning hides, that practice stopped at my late grandfather, and unfortunately, no one in my family tanned hides. So as we finished up at this hide camp, we were gifted 2 pieces of hide, and I was just looking at them, and I knew like the amount of work that went in there into that hide. In that picture that says 2017, the first tanned hide feather collection. So that was the earrings that I created. I created 2 pairs, one for me and one for my daughter. And from there, I returned back to beadwork, and that's when I created my feather collection out of commercial hide. Because unfortunately, at that time, I didn't have access to home tan hide until about 2018. So from 2008 to 2020, you know, I worked full time, 11 years of my life for like a national Indigenous organization as a summer student, and then eventually landed in the role as director of financing, you know, managing a multi-million-dollar portfolio. I was at that time in 2000, probably about 19, 20, I was looking for a job, and I felt like my spirit needed something different. You know, after graduating in 2019 from post-secondary at U of A, I was applying for many different jobs, and it just wasn't, nothing was coming up. And I was like, oh, why? I felt like my path was like, you know, pulling me this way, and I was at a crossroads. And then I had an aha moment. I was like, Jess, I was like, your job or your path is like right in front of you. You know, you can focus on creating art full time. So in July 2020, I resigned from my professional career in the middle of a pandemic. And of course, this is like one of the hardest, most difficult decisions I've made, you know, to leave financial stability, to leave a place where I was comfortable in the work that I did. You know, I felt that my heart wasn't there. You know, I felt I needed a change. You know, working full time at one point, going to university and creating art on my spare time, you know, it was a lot to carry. And I felt that I just needed to slow down my life. And yes, I was absolutely scared. But what made me excited was just having full autonomy of my life and control and the work that I wanted to do. So off I went, left my job to pursue art full time. Sorry, I just had to take a drink. So J-Shine Designs has evolved throughout the years. You know, I started to attend more markets, build my presence on social media, and just show people behind the scenes of how I create pieces of art. You know, the diagram on the top right shows that it's not just a piece of art. There's so much more that is behind that piece. You know, beading is medicine to me, and getting that piece out into people's hands, there's so much behind within it, like from designing to sourcing the materials, creating that physical piece. You know, I do my own photography to marketing to package to shipping, dropping off at the post office, and doing all the admin from filing quarterly reports to the government. And you can also hire someone to do that for you also if you're thinking about entrepreneurship. But I use these skills I learned from my accounting degree, and I have applied these skills to my own business. So, for example, if anything goes wrong on my website and I need tech support, that's me, I'm the tech support. So it's just carrying a lot of hats. So these are kind of just like pictures of some of the art that I made using traditional materials, and this is actually my landing page on the right-hand side of my website. As a small business owner, what worked really well for me was creating this website and having flash sales where I released batches of earrings at a specific time, which worked really well. It created really that anticipation and that urgency, to secure orders. So of course you don't need a website to sell your art. Social media is so powerful, and I've seen other artists do really well at selling through Instagram and Facebook. So that's another option as well if you don't have necessarily a website. But since leaving my day job, I only at that time I sold jewelry. So since then I actually expanded my business, and I now sell like beading supplies from vintage beads, high quality beads, which I acquired on my travels. I sell beading kits, scissors, and now we make hide tools. So J-Shine Designs has evolved, and specific designs have changed and have been added to over time. So as an artist, it took me a while to find my way. I bead pieces that embody of who I am and where I come from. So my advice to those who are bead workers, continue to challenge yourself, create those pieces that speak to your stories, that embody your family. I felt like, I'd come a long way, and I definitely had some challenges with owning my own business. For example, like I originally didn't have access to, those traditional materials like home tanned hides. I was never taught this process of tanning hides within my family kin, nor did I have access to mentors to teach me that. So other challenges I found within my business was a way to market yourself and your art, and if you're needing a website, I highly recommend to do a lot of research on website platforms. I was with an old website platform which I had major issues with, where items were selling 2 times, sometimes even 3 times. And I had to actually recreate those exact pieces. And it was really stressful, actually, doing that. So anytime I had a sale and that piece sold over 3 times, I had to recreate it. So I made the decision to leave to a bigger website platform where I wouldn't have this issue. So, for example, like some platforms like Shopify have Indigenous support groups and support Indigenous-owned businesses. So I really applaud them there. Other challenges is marketing. What really helped me was I listened to actually business podcasts on way of doing business. That's like how to market through email, through your subscribers, on social media. So this definitely was really helpful because it made me understand that, social media, again, is so powerful. But it's also important to share your story, explain the materials your art is made of, and share some of that process and how your pieces are made. Other challenges that I've had was boundaries. So setting boundaries and not saying yes to every commission. I had to learn not to overextend myself and saying no to wholesalers, for example, who in some cases have asked to take a 50% commission. I really strongly suggest just follow your gut instinct and only do what's good for you and your family. So Hide Camp, oh my goodness, this was such an amazing time here. So when I left my full-time job, a month later, I was asked to attend the first Hide Camp I attended in 2017, but after I quit my job, all of a sudden, things started to align with me. I attended my second Hide Camp. And after this, I started connecting with other hide tanners, starting to travel to other communities. I attended Ganayasik cultural camps. This is Ganayasik, where I was actually working on my hide. This is a deer hide that I was scraping and taking it through that whole process. I find that, they really create a space where you can learn from one another, building those good relationships with all beings. There's so much community care that goes into Hide work. There's ceremony, there's laughter, there's sharing, there's that transmission of knowledge. This is a picture of me working on my hides in this city. On the left is me framing the moose hide, working, in my backyard, using the land around me. Some challenges I did have tanning hides in the city was just, my neighbors actually called Fish and Wildlife on me for having a grizzly bear in our backyard, and I felt like they were trying to regulate us in a way to stop us from exercising our rights to our traditional ways of being, ways of knowing. We still continue to this day to tan hides in our yard. We invite friends, family, to be able to share that knowledge with them. So looking back, I found that Creator had a plan for me. If you were to ask me 2 years ago, where would I be today? I think I would be like, that's impossible. I feel like we're so conditioned to live a linear life, straight on. I found I had to create my own path, follow what makes me happy. I feel at peace when I'm working on hides. I find myself with my thoughts, I find myself praying, at times. This is very healing work and has helped me enormously, like healing with my past traumas, being a part of tanning the hide to creating art with home tanned hide and seeing people wear my art. I have a deep respect for what the Muswa provides our families. I have a deep appreciation for all of the knowledge keepers who continue on this traditional practice. I find myself right where my great grandmother was 70 years ago. She tanned hides, she provided for her family. And, I'm right where I'm supposed to be. And, tanning hides and providing for my family, feeding my family through my art. So it's very like, just emotional just to talk about, like, just honoring my relatives and my matriarchs, in the work that I do. So if I could tell myself when I was younger, I would actually tell myself, follow what makes you happy. It's through expressing yourself through the arts, explore different mediums, even if you don't have any experience. Also challenge yourself, try new things, and, remember to be kind to yourself and don't be so hard on yourself. If it does not work out the first time, your practice will evolve and, you'll see that change. And always be proud of who you are and where you come from, and know that your ancestors and relatives are guiding you on your path. With that, Gananaskamatin, thank you so much for listening to my story. My contact info is here, my email is here, and my handle on all social media platforms is Gshine Designs.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jess, for sharing your story. That was really inspiring. I love how that connected right back to the land through your art, and then obviously through connecting back to your family. That's so powerful to see, and I love that to see that my first hide camp was actually Kaniasik too.
Oh,
that's
cool.
Awesome. Yeah, but thank you so much for your time. That was really inspiring. We are moving pretty quick here, so we are
for sure.
to our next speaker. Okay. Make sure you do support Jessica here at jshinedesigns.ca, and also make sure that you reach her on Instagram and social medias and support her art and her business. So we are we'll introduce our next entrepreneur, Mallory Yongway. Mallory is a êkiskwayihtamowin from Satellite Cree Nation, as well as a MacEwan University alumni, graduating from MacEwan School of Business with a Bachelor of Commerce in Supply Chain Management. Mallory is a supply chain professional, independent business, and a community consultant, educational facilitator, and entrepreneur. Most recently, she has taken a big leap into the role of president and CEO of her new startup, Indigenous Box, Inc. Mallory operates Indigenous Box from Edmonton with the help of her husband and daughter. Welcome, Mallory.
Thank you so much for the intro. I'm so excited to be here. So I just want to first begin by acknowledging that the land here, which I operate my business in Treaty 6 territory, is home to many First Nations, Métis, Inuit, Saulteaux, Iroquois, and Nakota Sioux people. So I'm very honored to be here today, and I'm really excited that this youth conference is being put together. I want to just start by letting you know a little bit of some statistics. So Indigenous peoples were the fastest growing population in Canada. We're also the youngest population in this country, with an average age of 26 years old, and we're growing at a rate 4 times faster than non-Indigenous peoples. This means that over the next decade alone, we'll see 750,000 Indigenous youth like yourselves move through the education system and into their careers, and into studying and exploring different evolving fields. One of them could be supply chain management. Entrepreneurship is also one of those options. So now compare that against our $30 billion economy that's expected to triple in the next 5 years. And imagine where we could be in just 5 more years. Think of what your role will be in this new economy. Now that I have you thinking about that and thinking of your role in this new era of Indigenous business, here's a few stories about my journey and what's helped me along the way. So kihêw, kittamskatinawa Mallory Yongwin in Sigasun, Peter Jackson and Watrisa Anderson in Egegwak, Onitskapone Kochinia. So greetings everyone, my name is Mallory Yongway. My parents are Peter Jackson and Teresa Anderson, and we are from the Satellite Cree Nation, number 125 in northeastern Alberta. I operate my business here in Edmonton, also known as êkiskwayihtamowin, and I'm also a graduate in MacEwan School of Business, a supply chain management major. I'm the founder and CEO of my new startup, Indigenous Box, and I want to first begin by just talking a little bit about my journey at MacEwan, my journey through MacEwan, and kind of telling you a few stories and lessons that I've learned along the way. So when I first stepped foot in MacEwan University, I came as a fancy shawl dancer with the Rainbow Spirit Dance Troupe. I was in high school, had recently dropped out and brand new from the res. I attended the Dreamcatchers Youth Conference and presented a session called When Opportunity Knocks, How Will You Answer? And to tell you the truth, I look back now and I didn't even know the answer to that question. But thinking about it now, I found that the answers were found along the way. But it was about realizing the importance of accepting opportunities, even when you don't know how to respond. It was about believing in yourself and believing that you can navigate these new spaces. So I've only been in business for 1 year and 6 days as of today, but a little bit about Indigenous Box. So a year ago, I had written a business plan on the idea of championing Indigenous peoples in business and allowing for Indigenous peoples to explore new modern forms of commerce through what I call the original supply chain. I had submitted a business plan to a company called New Relationship Trust Foundation, and they had set up a young entrepreneur challenge where they were going to award 20 grants of $5,000 each to Indigenous entrepreneurs who were looking at starting a business within the next 4 months. And so I wrote the business plan and I waited and waited, and it was the middle of the month. I still hadn't heard anything. By March 3rd, we were incorporated as Indigenous Box Inc. So we really hit the ground running, and we got to work with the help of my husband and our 2 children, and made sure that we were taking breaks and that we were doing things in the right way and in a good way. We were learning about e-commerce and reaching out to entrepreneurs that we already knew were taking up this space. And we were asking them if we could buy their products and really showcase their products through our subscription service. So we started sampling and developing our marketing plan. We hired lawyers and accountants to manage our incorporation, trademarking, and financials, and building what is now Canada's newest discovery subscription box, featuring Indigenous-owned businesses and Indigenous entrepreneurs and their products. It was such a whirlwind start to Indigenous Box. We were working all of the time, night and day, and basically every chance we could in between what was my office hours back then, which I've since left my position, and parenting. And I put up a blank timer, just a basic HTML countdown timer on a basic user interface that that counted down to our launch date. And we made a few social media accounts and started posting a little bit about this countdown. And people started to wonder what this was all about. They kind of had an idea of what we were doing, and some people even saw our pitch video. And people were curious. They wanted to know how we were going to elevate Indigenous business. So we, on March 14th, which was my late Kukum's birthday, we sold or put up our box for sale on our website, and it sold out immediately. We decided to increase the number of boxes for our launch, and that sold out in 24 hours. So since March 14th last year, we have been just completely flying through Indigenous business and elevating and bringing to the table as many Indigenous entrepreneurs as we could. And so along this year, we have been able to learn a lot of lessons about who we are, learn about e-commerce, and continuing to problem solve our way through this wonderful world of entrepreneurship. We started getting a lot more interviews and meetings with people who wanted to help us and who wanted to support us in a way that was that was our own. So the Trade Commissioner of Canada reached out to us and put us in contact with some new partners at the Edmonton International Airport. And so today I come to you from our Indigenous Box headquarters and fulfillment center, which tomorrow we're going to be announcing a very strategic partnership with a new partner to fully allow us to continue dreaming up our intent to keep moving forward for Indigenous business and doing the best that I can to represent our people in a good way, with good intent and with big action. So I want to share with you just 3 steps that I believe took me from being just awkward, nerdy Mal to being awkward, nerdy Mal and president and CEO of my new startup. But in all fairness, I think that these 3 lessons, are the foundation for are the foundation for Mi'opa Matsawin to live a good life. So step number 1, establish a positive, productive, and problem-solving mindset. So like I said, long time ago, I was a Braided Journey student. I was a brand new MacEwan student, and I was navigating this new world away from my home community and away from everything that I knew that was comforting to me. And it was this youth conference that took me to learning a little bit about mentorship and the importance of finding people that believe in you and that see the potential in you even when you don't see that yourself. So in these sessions, I started to give these conference events called When Opportunity Knocks, How Will You Answer? And it was about learning about myself and learning about myself in understanding how to problem solve and establishing what I called my problem solving mindset. So telling myself that everything is figure outable and just working through these problems. And through the last year, we've been able to problem solve our way out of a whole lot of situations that that causes a lot of stress and headache. Step number 2 is always working to build relationships and community. I truly believe that Indigenous Box has only seen the success because of the relationships that I've built over the last decade. And from the day that I decided to go back to university, I made a point to meet with everybody and to listen to people and hear their stories. I attended all of the events, the networking events, the student events, the gatherings. I made a point to ensure that I spoke with everybody and to, be kind and be generous with your time. I set a goal to build relationships and to get to know people. And I wanted to listen and find out what they were up to and how they got where they are and where they're going. And at the time, this was something that I did that I knew would pay off in the future. It was my long-term strategy and not necessarily my short-term tactic. But it turns out that if you talk to a lot of people and you build good relationships and you're kind and you're generous, people will want to collaborate with you and they'll want to help you. So this is actually what got me my internship with disaster recovery with the province of Alberta, which then led to my position with Alberta Infrastructure, where I was able to thrive and able to learn a lot about supply chain management and about procurement at an interprovincial level. So I'll tell you a little story about Indigenous Box, like the original concept for Indigenous Box. So when I was in university, I took a course called Business 201. And it was the introduction to business. And at the time, it was an opportunity for me to kind of explore the world of business and make sure that it was something that I wanted to do. And in this class, you had to start a business with only $5. And you had to run this business for 6 weeks to, in the end, turn a profit and learn a little bit about business. And so we were in a group of 4, and here we were with our $5 each, our $19.95 that we spent on candy and brown paper bags. And we marketed the brown paper bag space on the 2 organizations and businesses in and around campus. And in exchange for this marketing space, we gave them an opportunity, or they gave us gift cards, and we gave the students an opportunity to win a gift card. So through all of that, there was a lot of lessons about entrepreneurship. There was a lot of spaces that allowed me to kind of problem solve and figure out, my break-even analysis or how I was going to market this product to the students on campus. I'm running out of time, but I'm going to give you my last step. So step number 3 is big action. And so I once read that there's 3 types of people, and only one of them has the right combination of traits to succeed in business. They're the martyr, the hustler, and the charlatan. And the martyr is someone who does a lot of good work selflessly, but isn't able to or doesn't want to tell anyone. And the charlatan is a person who is all talk, but doesn't have any substance and doesn't back it up with the work. The person you want to be is the hustler that has big talk, but backs it up with even bigger action. And that's what we're doing here at Indigenous Box. And so take those 3 steps and apply it to what you want to do in entrepreneurship, and I guarantee you'll succeed. Thank you so much for your time. Hi.
Thank you so much, Mallory, for sharing your story with us. For more information on Indigenous Box or to place an order, visit indigenousbox.ca, and make sure you also connect with them on social media. So crew, we are going to transition into our last break before we move into our final sessions of the day. So we will be taking a 10-minute break, and we'll be returning at 2 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. All right, so we have about a 10-minute break, and we'll see you back here in about 10 minutes. Welcome back to the Indigenous Youth Rising Conference. Remember, if you have any comments or questions for us, make sure you type them in the chat. And we are going to get right into our next session. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Deanne Hupfield. Now Deanne will be leading this session and is a full-time auntie from Temagami First Nation who has been dancing for over 30 years. She grew up as an urban niche kid in Thunder Bay First Nation and reconnected to her culture through dancing, jingle, and fancy shawl. She started teaching powwow dance and regalia making classes about 20 years ago to support her community. Now she is based out of Toronto and married with 5 children. She teaches powwow dancing on YouTube and has an online jingle dressmaking course. Welcome, Deanne.
Ani, miigwech for that introduction. Okay, so we have a very short amount of time, so I'm just going to get right into it. So yeah, I teach powwow dancing. Anyone's welcome to participate in this session. But for making powwow regalia, that is reserved for Indigenous people only. Yeah, non-Indigenous people are welcome to learn about powwow dancing. They're welcome to learn the dances, and I encourage them to come to our powwows and build relationships with their local Indigenous communities. So the basic powwow dance step is just tap, body weight, tap, body weight, tap, body weight, tap, body weight. And every time you hear a drum beat, your feet are going to touch the ground. And since I was a little girl, I was always taught to dance with a purpose, or in the language, ni magage. And when you're dancing, you like hold good thoughts in your heart. You can even hold whatever thoughts you have in your heart. So if there are sad thoughts or happy thoughts, and you can like dance through those feelings. So yeah, I'm going to play a rockin', let me see. I like this one, Skimitzen by Bear Creek. And if you want to start off with just a walk, or you can add a little hop. If you were dancing jingle, this is when you would raise your fan at those honor beats. Then you bring it back down when you hear the next lead start. We can try some traditional dance. Same step, but it's like sitting in a chair. If you get lower, taking that bottom back. So it's really hard. Those dancers are real strong. We can try some grass steps, some wide legs. I love grapevine. So step over, front, step over, back. Over front, over back. And the other way. Over front, over back. Over front, over back. Do like a heel kicks, just like lean this way, and I'm kicking heel, heel, other way, lean, heel, and add a hop. Okay, I'm just going to press pause for a minute. If you dance with me with that song, let's like take a minute, do a little stretch. Always stretch when your muscles are warmed up a bit. Because if you stretch when your muscles are cold, you could be at risk for injury. When I was like little, they're like, stretch before you work out. But I'm like 38, so the research has changed since then. Just gonna stretch my hamstrings. And this one's really good too. If you lean to one side and you want to feel a pull on your inner thigh. Other side. Okay. So the next song we're going into is a sneak up. And the sneak up originally was for like men's traditional dancers. It's like a war dance. And during the ruffle, the men would like sneak around and tell stories about war or hunting. And over time, as powwow has evolved, men's traditional turned into men's fancy, which turned into women's fancy or fancy shawl. And now, yeah, we dance it. So when you hear the ruffle, you can ruffle around. You can, if you're shawl, you could spin around or fancy bustle. And then it goes right into that beat, the regular beat we just learned, the straight beat. Where I come from, we do this right after grand entry, and everyone dances to it. Northern Ontario. One, two, one, two, one, two, one, two. I love this spin. It's like one arm up, and I turn my leg. Fine. Right, crisscross. So I'm going to change views so you can see my feet closer. I love this one. Side, kick, side. This one. Over side kick, over side kick. Another complex one, number 7. It's like over, side, back, over, side, back. Oh, let's do this one. Over, side, back, side, heel. Over, side, back, side, heel. One more time. Over, First side, side, heel. First side, back side, heel. First side, side, heel. Side, side, heel. And I'm doing this like heel kicks is like heel, toe, heel, toe. So I'm like, my knee faces this way and that way. This way, then that way. And then to sped up, it looks like this. Heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe. So I'm like dropping my hip, letting my heel touch, and then toe, out. So drop, toe, drop, toe. This one is really good for fancy shawl on really fast songs. Oh, curl hop. It's like a march. And you're gonna hop each leg. Beats. Pretty much do all the same moves, as long as hitting the beat. So, up tap, side tap, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's try some heel toe. Any of you follow me on TikTok? This one went viral. So it's like heel, toe, heel, toe. Heel, toe, heel, toe. And switch. Oh yeah, that looks fun. It's like a fast body weight switch. So it's like I'm turning my hip forward. I'm kind of like showing off the side of my foot. Side, 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 side. Double beat. Here. So this one, it's like I'm turning, showing the side of my foot. Turn side. And then speed it up. I'm gonna like transfer my body weight to my front leg. It's like twist, twist. Every time you twist your hips, you can switch from foot to foot. So it looks like this, working it out. And adding that hip twist, 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 from foot to foot. Twist, twist. on the Elvis. So I'm doing like crisscross and then crisscross with doubles. So crisscross regular. And when you switch in, like point your heels inwards. Just add more dimension to the movement. And double it up. Walk it out forward. Have some of that heel toe again. So heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe. Double, double. The running man. Last but not least, some spins. I love this spin. You cross over, baby toes, and you spin all the way around. You reset, and that foot all the way around, and spin again. So this foot does all the, I'm spinning on that foot. I'm gonna come up. I think my time's almost up. So, foot goes over. And the other side. The foot crosses over. Toes spin around. And then bring it around and reset each time. And it looks like this whole time. Has 36 seconds. Listen for those honor beats. Good. So yeah, I teach power dancing on YouTube. I hope to post again soon. I haven't posted on YouTube in a while. Been prioritizing TikTok and Instagram. But yeah, you can follow me at Deanne Hupfield. My website is deannehupfield.com for the regalia making classes. And I hope to be doing fancy shawl by the summer, just like this close to getting it done. So miigwech for having me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Deanne, for sharing your teaching. I'm almost out of breath after all the hard work you did there and showing off some fancy moves. Definitely have to use some of those. So as we kind of wind down and just about finished our conference for today, we want to make sure that we kind of reflect before we go into our last tea and teachings with our elders. From hearing inspirational Indigenous people, from young people to older people, to all different, from actors to artists to business owners to lawyers to students to teachers, all sorts of people, bringing messages of hope and showing that success doesn't look like one way, and it's not just a straight line, and there's many different ways. And so if there's something that you've been moved by today, I hope that, you know, that flame or that spark that maybe you're inspired by, that you take that to heart, and maybe one day you're one of the speakers here, showing something, your passion, your love, your work with the rest of us. And so it's time for our last session of the day, featuring Kihêw, Watson's very own knowledge keeper, facilitator, the wonderful Cynthia Jim. And we will also be welcoming back our elder in residence, Dr. Francis Whiskey Jack. They'll be sharing some tea and teachings with us to wind down our afternoon. Welcome, Elder Francis and Cynthia.
Good to go, guys.
Hi, Dance. I want to first of all say again, how we started off this morning. And I wanted to first of all mention that I had gotten a protocol with sacred medicine, first medicine of tobacco, from one of my colleagues, Crystal Pennell. And I want to say thank you for that, because it's very important to know these protocols when we're asking for something. So for those of you that kind of keyed in late, êkiskwayihtamowin so my ceremonial name is Fine Day, and I Cree that originates from Saddle Lake, which is about an hour and a half northeast of Edmonton. Hi, hi.
Good evening, every one of you. I have Mia Kika is well. He's Nis Poponi and Oti. I hail from the Wanik and the Statling people with strong kinship ties to Saddle Lake, where I raised my children. And it's just such an honor to be here as a knowledge keeper. So I look forward to each and every one of you to meet you someday on this beautiful lifetime. Hi.
So thank you, Cynthia. Cynthia and I actually are quite closely related, because she married one of my cousins. And so that really makes it good, because we got to know each other from different territories that we come from. But we were just having a conversation with Cree a little while ago, and I'm trying to teach her a few words that actually show Cree as a root term language. It's a sacred language. And when you know the root terms in Cree, man, you can connect with the universe, you connect with creation, you can connect with Mother Earth. But everything has a meaning, even who you are. So it comes from the root word kitsi, which means belly button. Who's your mother, grandmother, and that is your history, your genogram. So with that, we'd like to begin our conversation today by every day of your life, to acknowledge life as a gift. Because so often we forget to say, thank you for this life, to begin our day. And that's so important as Native people, that we always have that spirituality in the four realms of life that we practice: spiritual, physical, mental, and emotional.
Absolutely, and it's so very important for all of our young people to realize all our beautiful, amazing relations out there, from the flyers to the swimmers to the other 2- and 4-legged walkers, 2 meaning other human beings, and 4, and also our rooted ones as well. So important that we realize that those are our relatives. We are not separate from them. They're not objects to us, as well as fire, earth, air, and water. They are our relatives, which is why we always respect and honor water, earth, air, fire, flyers, swimmers, walkers, and rooted ones as well. Very important teachings. All my relations teachings were related really to everything.
And that is so true. And I want to mention that I am a residential survivor, and I am so fortunate that I'm still alive and healthy here today. And when we think of our history, I was very fortunate to have known Dr. Willie Littlechild in a lot of our journeys, and what he did to the United Nations for reconciliation. And Willie would say, you know, this is about reconciliation. What are we going to do to make that life change? You know, I never ever figured I'd ever be recognized and given an honorary degree as Dr. Francis Whiskey Jack, but I'm really proud of that. So I always wanted a degree anyway. And when I was younger, I was told that I would never amount to anything. I was illiterate. I couldn't learn. Yet, you know, power of elders, mentors, taking risk to show, you know, I did by simple rules of what the elders say. They say if you're weak in life, you'll never survive. But if you are strong, you will survive. Strength of spirit, strength physically, a life of sobriety, free of alcohol, free of drugs, strength mentally, because we were given that brain set, and because Joe would say, you know, our mentality, because the Creator created us, gave us this mentality, make choices, and to have that memory that becomes ceremony, and which is so true. So when we go back to our native values and perspective, our own psychology through the sweat lodge, through the ceremony, it's really, really important. The ability to connect, to be able to laugh, to be able to shed tears. But all these are sacred things. Bill would say, the greatest gift we can give each other in this life is one of kindness, one of love. Love those that are unkind when they need it most. Kind to them. Okay? That takes the other teaching, is self-discipline. Use your natural born gifts to the greatest effect.
From my great grandmother, who taught my grandmother Shapita, who taught my mother Kwainawit, and who taught me and my 4 sisters. There's this one teaching I wanted to pass along, is that what you focus on is what grows. What are you feeding? Because whatever you're feeding, that's what's going to grow. Whatever you focus on, that's going to grow. So make it something amazing and beautiful. Make health grow, make happiness grow, humility grow, patience, kindness, honesty, understanding, kindness, patience, love, determination, and generosity upon the next generations. Because someday you're going to be the grandmother. You're going to be the grandfathers and grandmothers and all of that. And you're going to be teaching someday. So to be careful what you focus on, because that's what grows. Whatever you're putting your mind to, your heart to, your body, you're actioning with your body and with your spirit, that's what's going to grow. So be aware of what you are making grow, okay? And that's an important teaching I learned from my great-grandmother, to my grandmother, to my mother, and to me and my sisters. We're also residential school survivors. And the first thing that our mother did when she brought us home is she brought us to the mountain, cleanse us in the creek there, so that we could replenish who we were. And the one word that comes to mind is identity, to know who we really, to peel off those layers of conditioning from all the atrocities and the generational trauma. Responsibility comes to mind, is what my grandmother taught us, that you're responsible for this body, this mind, this heart, and this spirit. So do beautiful things with it. What are you doing today for your physical self to be healthy and well? What are you doing for your emotional self to be healthy and well? Ask these questions of yourself. What are you doing for your mental self to make good decisions and to learn? What are you doing in that aspect of your being to be healthy and well? And spiritually, what are you doing to be connected to other things greater than yourself? And these questions I pose to you as beautiful young people, I just thank you for your generosity. One of the lessons and teachings of life is generosity of your time. You could be anywhere out there, but you're here with us today. And I thank you so much for being.
Thank you for that. I have to agree with my colleagues there. And, you know, as I watched some of the footage from the sidelines, I was just amazed, you know, like I never in my life figured that I'd have êkiskwayihtamowin. That means the show, you know, we used to have the reels a long time ago, mold, and you see the reflection of people act. But here to be on video and teleconference. I guess one of the big words that I learned, to be able to talk and see. You know, you young people have it all. I was watching some of the footage on your sharing and gifts. That is great that you have adapted your identity, but also to have it put it into technology. But, this is the thing. I encourage people to get educated, to be leaders, to use technology, because that's the worldview nowadays. It's a changing way of learning, but at the same time, I'd say know your culture. So we can have the best of two worlds, is what I'm trying to say. So I encourage people to get educated, and that's some of our roles here. I work at University of Alberta. We also work at Grand MacEwan, and basically advocating and mentoring young, not only in this university education, but also children's advocate, missing and murdered Aboriginal woman, the 60 Scoop. A lot of things I try to be involved with. And, you know, that's my payment. When I see people succeed and happy success, I just can't be any happier.
Yes, and remember that, you know, when we look back and we to acknowledge where you come from and that rootedness of where you come from. Somewhere down 7 generations before you, there was an elder, there was your ancestor that prayed for you to be strong and resilient and to make great changes with your mind, your body, and your spirit through your culture. So I just want to encourage you, you got this. As young people, our next leaders, you got this. It's within your essence to succeed in every aspect. Whether it doesn't matter what gift you carry, it could be in technology, it could be of the land, it could be fishing, it could be anything, any role. To really do the work on yourself too. And don't be afraid to ask those that might know more information than you. Offer that tobacco to ask those key questions to help you identify what it is that what direction you need to go. I just wanted to share that because, you know, if you can do that, once you find your identity, your worldview changes. You begin to realize what it is that you're here to do. Like, I know on our journey as residential school survivors, we have different stories that got us to this point right now. At one time, I was just a little girl in residential school. Then I became a mama with different roles. And then I had 4 children, and now I'm a grandmother. And someday I'm going to be a great grandmother. And I look forward to that role with the gifts of song that we forth, the gifts of music that we bring forth in our family. And in your family and within yourself, I encourage you to really strive to find out what it is that you're doing so that you can share with the rest of us and we'll embrace that beautiful gift within you as well.
And with that, you know, I like to say that Native people, we observe a lot. We are oral learners from way back. I used to listen to the old people, but especially the old men, tell stories to one another, you know, and sometimes it was kind of a competition. There were tales from the sweat lodge, you know. It's kind of like Aesop's fable, but they all had a lesson in it. And, so a lot of these, by saying that, I want to remember our medicine people, our knowledge keepers, our elders, because where would we would be without them? At 3 and 4 years old, I was immersed in Cree, and this is how I maintained that language through immersion. And that's the power of the mind. Just like your computer has that memory, well, we have this memory. Memory holds a lot. And all of a sudden, I started to remember all these Cree words that I learned from a long, long time ago. Same with Latin. I shared how many different masses in the residential school. It's more like an institution, but I used that Latin later on in my work as a medical, you know, medical technician, nursing orderly. That Latin came in handy. So the memory also, the environmental learning. I love drawing eagles, the totem system. spirit animals, bears, wolves, and so many life values that they teach us culture and adapted to that. So but when I hold this eagle feather, it really reminds me of soaring to the great heights. To know that that eagle spirit is always with me. As my teacher was the man who sings the song of the eagle. That's his name. And there's a lot of teaching on our life path, the pain, and how we start young, to fluffs, to the great height, the great eagle feather. And a lot of times, the regalia, the beautiful, the outfits that are priceless that people make, that Native people to celebrate their culture, including this beadwork that I did. And, we're so talented. We have that gift, sight, the gift of working with our hands. It's an adapted wind, the wind spirit that moves us in this life. How we connect with everything, our Mother Earth, the universe, and spirituality. It's very uplifting and motivating for me, and that's where I get my balance. I'm not a perfect person, only the creator. Certainly, I'm pretty happy with every day of life that I have. Again, I repeat, always give thanks for your natural born gifts. We have a lot of things when I think of the handicap, when I think of our people that have diabetes and they get amputated limbs, and I think about people that suffer from cancers or from our FAS, we're so fortunate.
Never be afraid to be thankful when we first get up in the morning. One of the first lessons that my grandmother, my mom, and my father taught us is to be thankful the minute you wake up. Be thankful for that breath. Be thankful for your arms, your legs, your eyes, your ears, for each other, for family, for a roof over your head, for that water you have access to, for that food you have access to, and the beautiful ceremony people on your path as well. All these beautiful things. One simple thing is your own ceremony of thankfulness in the morning. It can take you a long way. It opens up energy, opens up that beautiful path for your day to open up in a good way. Something that simple can change your day. And I encourage you to be thankful every day.
So at the time, the message that I want to give, there's lots, that we have a limited time because the system always works on time. But I was thinking of you. I'll tell you tonight at Waciston at MacEwan, I'll be doing a pipe ceremony, and certainly all of you, wherever you are, I'll remember you with my prayers. And ask.
Hi, and thank you, Elder Francis and Cynthia, for those great teachings. This concludes our last session of the day. It's been an amazing day, a lot of inspirational stories, cultural teachings, traditional songs, and I hope you're able to take away something that inspires you, that gives you hope, that provides you with that spirit of agamimok, of never giving up and continuing on, and whatever that may be, and to really push you to pursue your dreams, to know that you are important, that you are beautiful. The colonial state of Canada has worked tirelessly to try to eliminate us through the Indian Act and other colonial policies, and you are those seeds, and you are those flowers blossoming for the people that they try to silence. And so we're gonna actually take it back, give it back to our knowledge keeper, Cynthia Jim, as she's going to share a closing song with us to end our time together. Cynthia?
Thank you. I'd like to sing 2 verses of the grandmother's song and 2 verses of Grandfather Rock's song in honor of all the beautiful youth, and to send you off in a most beautiful way, wherever you're from, to send blessings, to kindness and patience, humbleness on your path, beautiful knowledge keepers that fall on your path in a really easy way. And, you know, I pray that each and every one of you, you know, has a beautiful home that is filled with warmth and care and determination and courage for whatever it is that you need in this day, on this specific day, and pray that all your needs are met in a beautiful way. Here's grandmothers and then the grandfather rock song. Nutuku atayo kan kite watese no nutuku atayo kan temage no howinan kawi mena na hiyo. Nutuku atayo kan kite watese no nutuku atayo kan temage no wian kawi mena na hiyo. Matuta pegwa temage no winan utat magowinan yumachewe ho kitena pewatani hay matuta pegwa temage no winan utat magowinan yumachewe ho kitena pewatani hay thank you each and every one. It was a beautiful day today, and I look forward to seeing you someday. Till we meet again.
Hi, Cynthia, for that beautiful song. And just kind of closing remarks as we end our conference today. Just something that's resonating in my heart is just your mamtanichagun, and Tumkri is just your way of thinking, how you think about things. And to mention one of my mentors who Andre mentioned earlier, Harold Johnson, who passed earlier this last month. You know, he'd always talk to me about the power of story. He would say, I am story, you are story, we are story, the universe is story. And that story is so powerful. You know, you think about what money is. Money, he would just say, you know, money is just paper. But the power of that story of money is so powerful that people will kill each other over it, fight over it. You know, I want you to think about the story of our people and how we've been portrayed and how we've been treated and how we start to believe that story and internalize those negative things that they try to say about us. But as we close today, and before we do our last greetings and closing remarks, I want to encourage you to tell yourself the new story, a beautiful story, the story of our old people, the story of our songs, the story of the land, Mother Earth and sky, the story of the stars, the story that is flowing through each and every one of us. So whatever that is, tell your story, be proud of it, be proud of who you are, where you come from, you belong, and you'll do amazing, amazing things. And to those of you that may be struggling today, you know, we through these songs and through the prayers that have been said today, I hope you receive, you know, that help and support, and to know that you're not alone, that there are people there for you, and that there are people praying for you, and you haven't even met them. So know that you're not alone. So that wraps up our program for the second annual Indigenous Youth Rising Conference. On behalf of kihêw Watson Indigenous Center at MacEwan University and the deadly anti-team of Terry, Amber, and Crystal, and the amazing tech team that make my job a lot easier, we want to say thank you, and we hope you had a great time and learned some new things. We are giving away a ton of amazing prizes, including merch from our Indigenous entrepreneurs, speakers, hoodies, books, and more. In order to enter the prize draw, make sure to fill out the post-conference survey. Everyone who registered as an individual or as a school will receive the survey link in their email tomorrow. Please let us know how you did, what we could change, what you enjoyed, what you didn't. And if you get that survey back to us, you'll be entered to win a prize, which they look amazing. I would also like to acknowledge all of our fantastic guests today for sharing their knowledge and talents and truths with us. I know a lot of people came and shared from their hearts, from their experience, their lived experiences, and I hope you're able to take something away. I would also like to thank MacEwan University Event Services for their support as they helped us navigate tech issues and also helped me stay on track when I got lost. And tonight, don't forget to join us at 6 p.m. for our virtual round dance sponsored by the City of Edmonton, hosted by Fawn Wood and Dallas Waskahat. The round dance will be streaming live on Facebook, and you can check the Kihêw Watson Facebook at facebook.com/KihêwWatson for the link. So make sure you come out to the virtual round dance. I want to see your virtual round dance. I haven't been able to do a round dance with COVID restrictions, but I'll have to loosen up my my joints here and get some head movement going, get round dancing again. But we want to thank you so much. It was an honor to be your MC. I was really grateful for the opportunity to be able to host and guide this Youth Rising Conference. And to our young people, continue to rise, continue to be deadly, and hope you all have a great evening. Thanks again. Hi, merci.